Welcome to another episode of Around the Mage Table, the podcast for the rest of us. We are going to earn that title this week as we react to a episode of The Bench. But before then, let's say hello to our fellow hosts. We'll start with Lythian. How you doing today, bud?
The tornadoes miss me, so I'm good.
Thank goodness. We were worried about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are you in Tornado Alley technically?
If that's where Omaha is, then sure.
Yeah.
Too far west, right?
I don't know where Tornado Alley is. I just know we get them a lot, and I've seen them a couple of times, but never had to deal with it too much.
All right. Well, Scrapclaw, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm chilling. Starting my weekend a little late, but it's fine.
Why a little late? What?
Well, I had to work today, but I took Tuesday off, so I have Monday, Tuesday as my weekend.
Well, I was just saying, because you have a birthday week coming up, right?
Well, not because of that, because I had to work today, but I do have Saturday off too, so I have a really short week coming up, which is fucking sweet.
All right. Speaking of your birthday, I know you said that you wanted to postpone doing the Traitor raid, which is coming up. Are you going to be available for next week's episode?
Yeah, I should be on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
I don't know. We'll see. Definitely Monday.
All right. Well, if you see an episode on Tuesday, you know why now. I ask you, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm exhausted. My wife is working today, so I had the kids all by myself today. My son, we went to a graduation party in Greenville, which is about 3 hours away from us. And I'm not joking, like one turn away from the house, vomited everyhere.
Why do you have so many vomit stories?
Because I have so many kids, you know. He made it like, again, one turn away, vomited everywhere. So I spent the first hour of the party cleaning my car out. Finally got inside. Again, the rest of the party I spent effectively using their washing machine. And then we get in the car back, and he was like in such good spirits at the party. I was like, okay, cool. It's just like car sinks, whatever. We get in the car. I make sure I don't turn on anything for him to get like, sick around. And yeah, like 20 minutes in, vomits again. So I had to pull over, effectively try to just clean the car. It was so late because, again, it was a 3-hour drive. Like, we didn't get home till like 12:30 or whatever. But the kids fell asleep in the car, but I had to smell the whole way back, and it was just like torture. And then, of
Your
course,
girls
today,
are chill with it though. They're
well,
like,
they just like, kids sometimes are just resilient in that way, right? So
yeah.
Yeah, so they didn't, whatever, they fell asleep and lived through it. But yeah, today I just tried to keep them entertained. We did a whole bunch of gardening, and I set up like a projector outside and stuff, and I'm just like exhausted. So let's get through this episode quick so I can edit it and get it out and not have anyone complain about why there's not an episode on Monday morning. So you guys ready to jump in?
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll send it.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to talk about in news today. We are going to react to an episode of The Bench in which THD Lock, for those who don't know, he is, I'm not going to say the main warlock for Liquid, but he's kind of like a big personality. He was on their episode, and effectively the whole episode was them trying to hear his, I want to say bad takes, but they weren't really necessarily bad takes. Hear his, let's call it egregious takes, and try to defend them, against them, I should say, which they unsuccessfully did, in my opinion. So I feel like since we're the podcast for the rest of us, and we might be the ones who aren't looking at through the lens of the top end world first, or even, title chasing player, maybe we can do a better job of trying to defend what his takes were and why they should still exist. So we will go through that today.
Can I ask, do you think they didn't defend his takes well against them, and you think his takes are good? What are you trying to say?
I would say this, okay? About 3 points in, I had to stop the episode. Now, granted, THD is the type of player that doesn't give a I'm not going to say, because he doesn't care what other people are experiencing. He's just going to say, this is what I want, and that's why. It's like Technique, right? Technique doesn't give a shit.
Like a great guy.
And what anyone else thinks. He's like, this is the game I should get, and I don't care about the mass population, right? And some of it might be him being a little coy and just like kind of being playful, but like I do believe he for the most part agrees with it. And there was a point where he was talking about why he wants AP grind to come back, and effectively, I think I wrote this on the comment of the YouTube video. It's like all the things we've been advocating for over the past 3 expansions, he wants to go back to what is effectively the I'm not gonna say Shadowlands, but like the BFA version of the game, right? And I just like had to take a time out and say like this is insane. I went back and listened to it again in preparation for this episode, so I've now listened to the whole thing again and took notes and all that stuff. There are some things as the episode goes on that aren't as egregious, and some things I actually even kind of agree with. But it seems like they came out with the heavy hitters at first, so
Well, that's what I was worried about. Is I was like, oh god, what if I agree with them? They're
No,
gonna
like
be
I said,
arguing.
and I would even say there are some points that are not necessarily unfair. It's just that it's like, again, it's solving for the problem of what the streamers, the 1%ers, the, you know, like they're not taking into any factor of what the casual player might be experiencing. And I think to say that Blizzard has to change these things because THD says so, you know, like they struggled to defend the points, where I feel like even if THD had some good points, there's still a good reason why they don't do those things. And I think the four of us hopefully can come together. And it sounds Lythian said he's going to agree with everything THD said. So Lythian will be our resident THD this week. While we maybe not stand up to say, hold on a second, this is why it's actually better the way it is, or better the way it should be, you know? Fair enough?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Before we get into it, though, we do need to talk about a couple things, including the wheel. So
Wheelgate.
Yeah,
The Wheelgate.
Wheelgate 2026. Okay. If you guys recall, last week on the episode, we spun the wheel. I did note that if Haywire was upset that we spun the wheel without him, that we might have to re-roll. Well, that was the case. Haywire was pretty upset, demanded that we re-rolled it. He was upset because he also got Bear Druid, I think, and he didn't want to play it, but whatever.
Never heard a man swear so much in my life.
So we re-rolled it, and and you guys need to help me out here. I think we ended up with like a 2 Demon Hunter. I think I played Havoc and...
No, I was
no.
Havoc and you were
It was
Vengeance.
it was Scrap Havoc, you Vengeance. I was Discipline Priest, and I'm trying to remember what the other two were. What were they?
I want to say one was a DK.
BM Hunter, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, something like that, right?
Is that the one? I don't know.
What'd you get, Lythian? Do you remember?
I think I got BM Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh,
that sounds
okay.
right.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of like, well, all right, we'll lock in and rolling our eyes. But then Lythian pointed out, wait a second, there's no range, right? And it was like
Oh,
a
you must
problem.
not.
Oh yeah, we were like all melee. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it was Mistweaver. I don't know. Whatever. Point is, like,
One person was Windwalker, I think. No,
Yeah.
I remember it.
but whatever the case may be, we were like, wait, hold on, this might actually be a problem. Right?
This one-
And Lythian said, well, hold on, there's a bug, because it should have like a way to make sure that at least one range is in there, or something, something. So Lythian's like, well,
Or that we can't roll two of the same class.
Yeah,
which
something
was
like
the issue.
And so we had to re-roll again, and we
Well,
rolled
hold on. There was a little bit of argument here.
There was,
because
go on, Scrap. You can stand on your
I
soapbox.
thought that this was fine roll. Like, it was a fucked comp, right? And I agreed to that. Like, the comp was really fucked up and not synergistic at all. But the point is that, like, anyone can push. And if we have a bad... like, we're not going to just keep re-rolling until we get the perfect comp, right? But eventually, everybody... like, we were very excited about rolling the wheel, so we were all like, okay, let's roll it again. But I was the dissenter here. I just want to say that first and foremost.
Well, I was really upset because I got tank, which I wanted. And I was like, oh, no. This might be terrible. And then I happened on the next, so that was the second roll. We rolled again and got a third roll, and I got lucky and got the tank.
Third roll, yeah.
And I think this was the roll, Scrap. You got the healer, right?
Yes. So, and everybody was like, "Oh, we gotta lock that in." So we rolled until I got healer. Is my perspective,
No,
like,
that's
which
not...
I think the wheel is a little bit,
Yeah. So the long and short of it, right, to save a story, right, is that we ended up having to roll I think we rolled 4 times, but we went back to the third roll because we shouldn't do that and went back, right?
Yeah. It was getting unbelievably compromised at that point.
So we have to take this on the chin. We compromised the wheel to a degree. It was a little buggy, a little, Lythian just built the thing, so he knew that he wanted to make some things work correctly, and they just weren't. And at the end of the day, Lythian, you've now rebuilt the wheel to make sure it functions correctly for anyone else who wants to use it. And we are gonna have a little asterisk next to ours. But what it boils down to is I'm playing Blood. Scrap is our healer as a Mistweaver. right? Which we
Yep.
which we all thought was going to be amazing because at the end of the day, watching Scrap Heal is going to be interesting. I
Yep.
think Mistweaver though will serve her well, so she'll be happy with that. I
Yeah,
think.
I've heard that it's not too different from DPS. It's like a good training wheels to switch roles.
Also, Scrap is going to tank the raid because
Yeah,
she's
I
the
mean
only one
that's potential. I'm at least backup, right? Like if one of our consistent raiders is like, I
backup.
want to tank the raid, like I'm fine with letting them have it. And then when they
Oh,
quit
boy.
inevitably because of the curse, I will step in.
Yeah. It's going to
Yep.
be bad news.
Yeah.
I ask you, you rolled
I'm outlaw rogue
Outlaw,
partner.
that's right. Yeah. Which again, I mean, like that's at least a fun spec, it sounds like. Lythian, you rolled a survival hunter. Survival hunter.
Yep.
All
Which I'm
DPS
excited for.
bleeds together for me. So yeah, survival hunter for you, and then Haywire has rolled warlock. Yeah,
Demonology.
warlock. Yeah, okay.
Demonology warlock.
Which is funny because aside from the blood, Mistweaver is meta right now. Demo's close to being meta. I know Rogue has had some spots, but I don't know if it's outlaw Rogue or not.
Outlaw's doing actually really decent damage right now, I hear.
Yeah,
So we'll see if that keeps up.
And so is survival, right? Survival.
Yeah, survival's
of the
having
three. Yeah.
I told Lythian be careful because survival's never meta twice in a row.
Right.
Same with Mistweaver.
It technically isn't meta this season, but
it's the meta hunter though, currently at least.
I think BM popped up actually, but either way, we don't know what's going to be meta next season. Like that's why we do it now, because it's like it doesn't really matter. You know, we'll see what happens.
Do you think there's any likelihood that we're going to see? Because you know, part of the conversation on some of the podcasts this week was like, there's some good specs that made it out of this, you know, 12.0 change pretty well, and then there, of course, like we talked about Fire Mage, for example, have not. Do you think there'll be any reworks of our classes?
I'm hoping so, because like Fire Mage feels very unfinished and non-synergistic, and they already have made changes like to survival and stuff. They redid how the pigs work. They added stuff for Devourer to make it flow a little bit better.
That was just with this expansion, I think.
No, they at the beginning of this expansion, the pigs worked differently, and it wasn't working, and they.
I haven't been keeping up because I didn't care.
But I mean, so they are making tweaks to kind of streamline things. I'm hoping that maybe why they haven't done that for Fire Mage is because they're doing a big overhaul of it. But we'll see if there's even people still left playing it asking for that. We'll see.
Oh, Scrap got Fire Mage in one of the roles. That would have been amazing.
The first one, the one I rolled on camera, I got Fire Mage. Yeah. So Rip, I had people saying, "Oh yeah, Fire Mage, that's exciting." Like later in the week, I was like, "You have no idea what has occurred. Like it's completely the wheel is completely compromised and shambles. I'm playing a fucking healer now."
If they don't have any reworks, kind of a little something out by now, I don't think they're going to come maybe before the next season, but I would be
next season.
I think at least before the end of the expansion, we'll probably see a couple things here and there for some specs that are a little weaker because of it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the 12.1 stuff. I'll get to another part of it and why in a second, but some of the reworks that I hope to see, like for Prop Paladin, as we've beat dead horse on that. Okay, well, we also have our Traitors raid officially set up for May 28th. If you want to sign up, go to our Discord. You can go to mythicdungeonleague.com, and on the homepage, or actually on anywhere, is a link to our Discord. One of these, there we go, where you can join us and sign up. We need 20 people to play. I think we'll get that, but please sign up sooner rather than later so I can start working out the Traitors. I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve this season for the faithful to play against. And, you know, right now it looks like the faithful are at odds to lose. You guys have jumped on there, so thank you everyone who jumped in and made some bets on our new MDLShe website. And I actually got to spend some time building some more of these, but I'm looking forward to it very much. Did you guys make a bet yet? Scrap, you haven't because you're.
I haven't even made an account yet.
Yeah, I'm not on the MDLShe either yet.
Unbelievable.
I need to do it though, because I keep asking you to make bets for me. I would have so much money by now because like I'm always making perfect bets.
Dang, dude. Fear put 1,000 on no.
I'm putting all of it.
Well, okay. So what I wanted to talk about before we jumped into it was just something that popped up on the MDI stream. I didn't notice it when I was watching it, but Wowhead did an article on it. And there are some things that they pointed out that the UI from Blizzard when watching, like, so you know how they have like I guess a GM or someone who's got like a visible character that they can kind of float around and record, or they're able to see a vantage point. Well, they noticed that there were some things that were tracked that you don't have in the base game. So, for example, cooldown tracking was as part of the UI, interrupt tracking, and then number of mobs and pull count tracking. So I thought when I first initially read this, I was like, oh, well, maybe they're just using add-ons like everyone else is. But those aren't accurate. Like, for example, the mini CC ones, I know interrupt tracking, I think, got broken in 12.0.5. Isn't that right? Yeah, last minute API changes.
Yep.
And then, of course, there's mob percentages on. So here's the screenshot right there. You can see the mob percentages. And so Wowhead is now guessing that this might be functionality coming with the 12.1 patch, which I would think is significantly more than what I would be expecting for 12.1, given that there are things that still need to be fixed, like, for example, the death logs on the damage meter. And, you know, that could be fixed with, you know, a patch. But I wanted to get y'all's input. Do you guys, first, do you think this is likely to be some add-on or some UI changes coming in 12.1? Or do you think this is maybe just like they made their own add-ons just for the sake of MDI?
I wouldn't be surprised if Blizzard has a little more leeway with how they can use the effects for something like a spectator. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is just for the viewing experience. But I mean, it's all looks really good and interesting stuff. I really hope that this is stuff coming because a lot of people have been asking for stuff like this. So I think it would just be good if they did it.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all things to make it more enjoyable to like watch a stream, right?
Well, to watch the competition, yes.
Yeah, to watch the competition. So it's like it would be kind of a huge dub for them to be like, hey, we've integrated like things to help, you know, make your stream more interesting and easier to follow. So you don't need add-ons for that either. Because I know like a constant add-on I'm looking for when I'm watching runs of people doing it is like I need to see like the buttons that somebody pressed because I don't know how to read their UI. So I'm looking for that scrolling thing so I can see what they're pressing.
But that's an add-on they allow. That's not a problem.
Yeah, totally. But it would be cool if they integrate more stuff into the game, like that they're seeing a lot of people use. So if they're like, hey, like we want to make this game more stream friendly, like there's more communication to somebody potentially watching, and they could be like, oh, stream friendly UI update pack or some shit. Like that would encourage people to show off the game more. Like that would, you know, and that would have people watching it and then feed into people playing it.
Would it
So
allow me to track other people's kicks?
please don't do that.
And
I don't
that's
like
the
that.
thing I
That's
am
what he's talking
wondering.
about, though.
That is the thing I am wondering though. Like this is stuff that they have come out at least before the expansion and said they didn't want us to have access to. So did they change their mind? Do they just think that people want it enough that they're just going to give it? Like that's what I'm interested to see if they come out and say anything.
I don't think that they said they don't want you to be able to, for example, track interrupts. I think they said they didn't want you to have an advantage through the add-on system, right? So they say, and then, you know, maybe, and to your point, I ask you, maybe like over the discourse of the 12.0 launch and seeing everyone lose their damn mind, they said, fine, we have to build it. But I would say it's more of that they were probably just like, we're okay with you track, you know, non-communicating for pugs, especially knowing what an interrupt cooldown looks like. But what we don't want to have is an unfair advantage for those of you that went and downloaded the add-on where, you know, the guy who doesn't know how add-ons work didn't have that. And so they said, we're going to limit it.
That makes a lot of sense too, because maybe if they just want it to be something that you reskin, but not necessarily something that you put in that's computational yourself, as opposed to like them being like, okay, this is a tool everyone has access to, now make it look pretty kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, well, do you guys feel like these were the big things they should go after?
These are not things that I'm gonna use. there's still like customizations.
We know,
I know, but I'm just saying things for them to go after. I don't know. I'd rather them add more customization to like the stuff they already have. Like the damage meter could be improved. The bars I think still need work. Especially with like dot tracking and shit. I know that's still a huge problem for people.
Well, yeah,
Thank God they didn't roll a dot
nameplates.
class.
Yeah.
Like and so like those are the things I'd rather them like finish that stuff that like people know what they want and are asking for it than like give us stuff that I don't know if there's a lot of people asking for it. But I
If,
don't mind them giving us stuff, right? Like,
There's a lot of people asking for a kick tracker.
okay,
for
well, not
sure.
me, because I don't care.
Like, especially if you're a tank and you're doing pugs.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. Sorry, go on, ask you.
Oh, I was gonna say, we have had a couple weeks now where there's been 2 to 3 million keys done. If Mythic Plus continues to stay this popular, people are going to try to push a little higher to get the next tier rewards. They probably figure that prioritizing the tools for everybody is better than prioritizing like something that only one subset of players might need, like a healer. Like, I'm sure like a lot of people would say, man, I'd like to see more stuff with the raid frames, but I think this is probably something that helps everybody out more than just like you being able to put a buff where you want on like a raid frame kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at, like, for example, the interrupt tracker, if you're pugging and not in comms, it's not like this is going to necessarily help you achieve the interrupt. It's just going to make you angry when you see the person who didn't.
Oh,
get the
it's,
Well,
interrupt.
it's
it
gonna
does
tell me
have-
who's not using it.
Yeah, it also
Then I can
has
talk
practical
to them.
application of like
Toxicity.
if you see everybody interrupt something and then there's a big cast coming up and no one has an interrupt, then I have to use defensive, right?
Yes,
Like
or
so
yeah.
a
there-
stop, right?
yeah, there's huge practical application to
Sure,
knowing if
sure.
everybody's kicks are on cooldown.
And like this right here is good, especially as they lean more and more into making sure that you have the highlighted mobs if you're a new tank.
Right.
Like this will be very helpful for you to be able to like, oh shit, I'm 1.5% short. Let me just grab that Gale Caller or whatever.
It's still of my opinion that my kick is nobody's business, but I guess next season it won't matter because I won't have one. So
Yeah.
Wow.
What if
Your
they bring
kick
back
is
healer
nobody's
kicks?
business.
They might.
well, then I'll quit.
Okay. I'm gonna bring this up now just because it's brought up in the episode, but I didn't realize it until the time. But apparently, it is common practice amongst the people who are trying to min-max their crests that instead of like, let's say you have a heroic trinket or a heroic, in this case, a sword, right? And you haven't gotten your myth one yet, or maybe you have gotten your myth one yet, and you're ready to upgrade it with all your myth crests. That you should instead use an Ascendant Voidforge, Voidcore on it, which will bump it to 282 and save you, I think it's 60 Mythic Crests.
Bro, what the fuck are we doing here? Like,
well, scrap. So there's even worse than that. So in the episode, THD talks about what they did and what might even become the standard going forward, where they would make a tune and just, again, spend all the hero crests to get the achievement on it.
Mhm.
So that on every other tune that they had would be what is effectively a 50% discount on all crests.
Yeah, I remember people telling me about that one season.
Yeah. Well, no, it's new this season because it doesn't affect the cap. If you like downgrade your myth crests to
yeah, if you get to 285, then your myth costs get cut in half for all your characters.
No, but this is more of like a heroic thing because you couldn't get that. Like there just were not enough myth crests at the start. But what you could do though is, let's say you have 4 out of 6 hero track gears dropping everywhere and plus and in the raid as an example. And you got your 100 or 200 maybe by week 2 hero crests and then 200 myth crests. Because the downgrading of the myth crest to hero crest doesn't affect the crests or affect the cap, which is new this season. It wasn't the case other seasons. You could now have 400 hero crests, get all your gear upgraded so that every other one of your tunes, or your let's say it's your non-main you do this on and now you have your main, would not have to spend nearly as many hero crests to get upgraded.
Listen. This is not for me. I do not care. I get my crests, I spend them all the first day. I don't care about what the most efficient way to do it. And I'm at a point where all my mythic stuff is upgraded and I have mythic crests that I can't use because I still have tons of heroic gear. So like it's not for me. It's not for me.
Scrap just doesn't care about anything. Let me tell you.
Not really.
What about the Voidcore stuff, Scrap? Would you, because let's say it takes
I already
5
spent
dungeons.
my void cores.
No. But
there's
let's
no
say,
cap on them, so why not?
Well, so you would take it and upgrade your hero thing so that when you did your myth thing out of your say vault, would you waste it on that knowing that you'll get another 5 in a little bit?
I tell you why I'm gonna do it, because I only have hero track trinkets anyway. Like so. Also, it's not capped. I could just do 5 and then do 5 and then do 5. So why not do that? But
do you think
I'm not doing
this
it
is a
to
problem?
save.
Do you think Blizzard should fix it?
No, I like that it's uncapped. It's nice.
Okay.
I don't.
I think for semantics sake, it might be a better. They should maybe try to find something that works better long term, so someone doesn't feel pressured into doing some convoluted calculus to figure out, oh, how I especially like most people will just do it the normal way and it's not an issue, but you're always going to get that one person, that fear.com in your Discord
Oof,
chat that's going to
called
be
out.
like,
Who
wait, no,
posts
you
the
don't want to do
video?
that.
Who posts the
Yeah,
video
wait, no,
saying,
you're
"You
you're
must
you're
do
doing it
this"?
wrong. Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want normal people to have to feel pressured into figuring that out or being made to feel bad because they just did the system as it was presented to
having
them. It's
FOMO.
not like
Yeah.
there's an NPC in Stormwind going, "Hey, I got a secret to tell you. Come to Murder Row real quick. I got this news that Blizzard doesn't want you to know." And yeah, but
I remember us talking about when people were shitting their pants over not getting mythic gear or whatever, and it
was
was like
Frank.
we looked at the numbers between like a mythic trinket and a heroic trinket, like the best
Oh no,
trinket, and it was like a
years
one.
ago,
Yeah, but it was like a 1 to 2% difference. And I feel like that's what we're fucking around with right now. It's like you're trying to get a 1%
Well,
difference and
yeah,
doing all
but
these hula hooping, and it's like,
there's
well, you could just be 1% better,
there's a
right?
difference between getting a 1% increase because you have to do the mythic raid, which requires coordinating, joining a guild, etc., and getting a 1% increase because you just did a little math.
But the point, Io, is that you don't need a 1% increase because 1% is not going to help you not suck ass. Like
I
if
mean,
you're within
sure,
that 1%
we
of
don't
like
need a 1%
yeah.
increase, but there might be someone who needs it, you know?
No,
Like
I would
that's
say like there's like 20% on the table for me if I could just get better at it. Like it's not because of my gear.
using the one button might be the fix for you, Scrap.
I might have to start doing that.
do something, man. I don't know what you need
Yeah,
to
or
do.
something. Yep.
All
Maybe I
right.
should try that and see what it's just not the one button, but the highlighted assist to see what's happening because I just can't get my single target to pick up the pace here.
It's anyway. I'm not gonna say anything.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
All right.
So
Are we
figure it
ready
out.
to get into it?
let's
Yeah, I
get
thought we
into
were
it.
already getting into it. What are we getting into?
we were dabbling. We were putting our toes in the water. Okay. So
Dabbling.
we're gonna go through. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, like 8 or
Whatever
9 of
2
these
hours
things. Okay?
allows.
Yeah, 2 hours allows. Right. I want to be clear. Again, I said earlier, I don't think THD is necessarily saying that the game is suffering because of these things. He's just simply saying, I want this stuff. Okay. But it was shocking to hear how hard the others struggled trying to defend. Now, that said, they did some good defending and had good points. And I'll try to bring them up. I have extensive notes here, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to hear you guys defend why the everyday person would want the systems that they have currently in place. And again, I was just so blown away by the idea that we're like advocating to going back to what was BFA, what was Covenants from Shadowlands, the daily grind and all that stuff. So we'll get started with our first one. And if I've done this correct, all the little headlines will head up at the bottom. So gear is not unique at all. All right. And THD started this conversation by saying, can you name any piece of gear that isn't a trinket right now?
So low key, I totally agree with this.
Okay.
High
I
key
agree.
even.
So-
I was
High
bitchy
key,
about
low
this
key.
last
You know
season
what's
where it's
funny?
just like,
I had an answer for this, but I'm starting to. I don't know if I can. I think it's like Spoon Spell Saber or something from. It's either Elgathar or Magister's Terrace. But the only reason I know that is it's like Spellboon Saber or something. It's the only thing I know because it was like Abyss weapon for my spec. That's about
well, I know
it.
like the rings, like Omission of Light and Omission of Void. I don't know, like those are rings, right? That counts.
Yep.
Yeah.
But rings have a little bit more of an identity because those like have special shit with
Well,
them.
no,
I
only
have, I have
those two.
Midnight.
Well,
I have
okay, those ones
Midnight.
I remember. Eye of Midnight is a ring.
But I think if you go further in, the idea is those are more unique pieces. Like you have the set bonuses on the 2 rings. The Eye of Midnight's the special raid item. I can't remember if it's a neck or a ring. But
here's what I think they're getting at: that they come up with a new name for pants every season, and I have to be like, wait, is that pants? Like, what is that name? Like, I have no idea. Like, it's so stupid.
We even talked about this last week about how maybe they need to go to a Diablo 4 type system where the items
I
are
don't like that
persistent.
though.
Well, okay, I understand why you don't like that. I mean,
Yeah.
let's compare it to Classic, right? The idea.
Yeah, that's one thing about Classic.
Yeah.
Like Boots of the Fang, right? Like iconic. The Fang set is like such an iconic. It's not like even end game gear, but it visually looks so fucking cool. It has a cool set bonus. Like it's
Well, there were
like
items too that like lasted you 20 levels when you were leveling, and they were
yeah,
so
there were
good.
ones that like you wanted this fucking intellect staff that you get from a quest as like a warrior for like a really long time, that there was like iconic weapons and stuff. And you know what it was is that even like the more focus on leveling instead of end game, right? So you're kicking around gear from all over the place. But like that there's not like a predetermined like you have this and this is your best thing and it's all the same stuff and it was designed just for you like it is now. Like I complained in past seasons about how it feels like getting a piece of gear isn't exciting because almost every slot is spoken for, not because it's business necessarily, but because like I literally have to have it. Like I have to have a 4 set. I have to have like 2 crafted pieces. I have to have the borrowed power. I have to have trinkets most of the time. And it's like, well, what do I get to get excited about or like make decisions between?
Why would you get excited about boots?
I won't because I just picked the boots that have
Wow.
my 2 stats on it. Like
here's
Yeah.
here's the thing, and here's when that's a good point you bring that up, because this was going to be what I was going to say. Is I think a big issue is when they went to the what is it, crit, haste, mastery, versatility system.
Yep.
You lost a lot of things like healing power, like
Or even
attack
hit
power.
or hit rate. Like for example, the boots that I would want from like Karazhan, for example, in TBC, they're leather boots, which I'm a paladin, so you'd be like, why are you wearing leather? But it has like
Healing?
it has like 3 sockets on it, and it gives you a lot of healing power. So it's like you can put gems in it to make it better too. So
Mhm.
when you're talking about, I just think the way they moved the game towards the 4 stat direction and the only having sockets on jewelry, I think that, and whatever you can put it else you can put them on, but the gems themselves only give you those stats too. I think that kind of took some of the uniqueness away because you can't really, you're not really trying to hit certain thresholds or anything. You're just like, I need mastery, I need haste, and you
Yeah.
just go that route kind of thing.
Yeah.
What
I mean,
I would go on, Lythian.
the thing that sucks is when every single spec in class need the same trinket across the board, like gaze. Like
Yeah, I
that
don't like
makes it like that just makes it really challenging. Number one, it's challenging to get it, but it's also like one less thing that you could be excited about because
You have
everybody
to
has
have
to
it.
I think
have
it's
it,
the
right?
inverse though. I think when you get gaze, you're like, fuck yeah,
Yeah, but
now I'm
it's
off
not
the
with
races.
unique.
trinkets,
It's the
yeah.
same trinket for everybody, everywhere. It's
Why does
like
that
not
matter?
unique at all. Because it's I
It's just
want
lame that
more.
something's so powerful that you don't really have a
Okay,
choice.
I agree with
Yeah.
that, but that
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the uniqueness of it, right?
What do you mean?
Yeah,
It's not unique at all.
Do
I
you
don't
mean
know.
unique?
I
In
would.
I
are you
agree.
saying that you want unique in the sense that like this trinket's
No,
only
that
good
like
for
why
me?
does a priest and a DK and a hunter all using the same
because
trinket? It's
it
kinda
gives
lame.
insane stats.
Well, they made it
Yeah,
so
no.
powerful that they
Sure,
balance the
but that
game
has
properly
nothing to
around
do with
everyone having
uniqueness,
it.
right? That has nothing to do with uniqueness. It has to do with power.
No, he's talking about uniqueness between like classes, like that there's no uniqueness if I have to take
No.
this trinket and you have to
What do
take
THD's
it
you
and
point,
what
he
do
has
you
to
mean
THD's
take
by
it.
point was about the
uniqueness?
idea of the uniqueness of the item being that's
No,
one
he's talking about the
item.
uniqueness of between people, like that we all have the same trinket.
No, that's not what he's advocating about.
That is what
What
he's.
is
That's why
he?
you're having a hard time understanding him.
Did you watch the episode,
Well,
Scrap?
I'm talking to
so
Lythian. Oh, that's. I sorry.
I'm
I
saying
thought
No.
you
Lythian's
said
getting it
Lythian was
wrong.
advocating it.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but
No.
what I'm trying to understand what unique means to that guy.
So
'cause I
think
didn't
of it
watch
this way. Think of it this way. Legendaries. Think of the ultra rare items from the raids, right? That
Okay.
like what was the name of the ring that was in Vault of the Incarnates? The one
I
ring
don't
everyone
remember.
wanted as well, right? It was like fire damage.
the brood. Oh God,
So,
I know the
you
names.
guys know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah.
It was like the first
Yeah.
ultra rare or very rare item, and like the idea behind it is that everyone, you ask people that season, Gaze of the All-Seers is another example of this. Like everyone knows Gaze, right? Now trinkets are not fair because like again they're so powerful. Everyone does kind of like leech on or puzzle box and stuff like people will remember trinkets. He's saying
Yeah.
what about the boots? What about the shoulders? Like why aren't my shoulders
I might come out of
important and
left
unique?
field here a little bit, Frank.
Steel of Diana's Chosen was the ring.
Steel of Diurna's Chosen. Yeah, that sounds familiar. let me come out of left field here,
Mhm.
Frank. Remember in the Galliwix raid, what was that called?
Oh, the Jaster's Diamond?
No, not talking about the Jasper Simon.
So-
I'm going out
never
left
mind,
field.
never mind,
I'm
never
not
mind. Go on.
building on this.
Let's go on a
Undermine.
journey with her. Undermine.
Okay. Come on a journey with me. Remember in Undermine how these pieces of gear had such silly names, right? It had such a silly 4-set, right? It was like Strike It Big or whatever. That's what the survival one was called. That was the name of the 4-set.
Yeah.
However, the sets looked completely not like what they were called, and we had a big fight about it because you were like, it should be class identity, and I said it should be raid identity. But I think that does factor in where, like, the Death Knight gear is called, like, shoulders were called, like, I don't know, like silly jackpot gamblers shoulders, and then they look like fucking any Death Knight shoulders out of any raid, right? And it's like, well, obviously I'm not gonna remember that because it didn't even like connect those two things together. Now we see. Are you pulling it up? Yeah,
But
but I'm just saying that there's a disconnect there. Whereas it's like if I'm thinking like Boots of the Fang, dude, those
It was
boots
called
had
the
fucking
Cauldron's
snakes on them.
Champion. Like, I mean, it's not.
No, but the 4-set was called Jackpot.
Or Boots of the Fang
No,
from
all
Wailing
tanks had
Caverns?
jackpot. All like they all had that thing, right?
Right, but I'm just saying it didn't.
But that
it
was
didn't
that
look
was not
like
that
a
had,
jackpot.
again. We're missing the point. That had nothing to do with the uniqueness of the name, like the naming of the
I don't
gear.
understand. I still
But the
don't
name didn't look
know.
like what it was.
He's
So-
saying okay. So here was the example he gave. Right? He's like, look,
let me
you
have-
have tier sets. You have 4 or 5 slots you
yeah.
can put your tier set in, and you don't even care which of the 4 or which of the 5 that you just like throw away, because you
Yeah.
just get a
Yeah.
statted item that you're like, okay, that's my one tier set that has versatility on it. I don't want versatility, so I'm just throwing it away. And you don't like
Yeah.
care that you have this like unique special item
I
that
totally
is
agree.
named, whatever.
They could just call it Hunter Shoulders, Hunter Belt,
They
Hunter
could absolutely,
thing.
yeah.
Because that's basically what it is. Like, they're running all these things through ChatGPT. It's like, ChatGPT, give me the fucking 100th name for boots so that,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can have new name boots. It's stupid.
Sure.
I think a way that they could bring more identity into it, if they're going to stick to this, you're going to have a 4-set, we're going to have Bar Power, whatever, is more items that have secondary effects. Like, maybe not ones that necessarily give you, like, a DPS boost, but just, like, I like the things like the rings that are a set, right?
Sure,
Like, it's
but
just, like, kind
But
of a
Scrap,
cool
that goes
thing.
into the Diablo example that we gave, and you said you didn't want.
I don't want that because I want the sets to be different
They
every
can't.
season.
Yeah, that's impossible though, right? Because
not
then they're going to throw it
impossible.
into ChatGPT, and you're going to get homogenization.
That's fine. It's better than nothing.
So I think the take that THD had about the uniqueness of items, I do agree with it for the most part. I think it is correct. The only thing I would say is I don't know if I have a better answer to fix that in the way the modern game is, because I think just the way the stats are, and it seems like they really like how it is right now, at least in terms of the development. So I'm not really sure how to change that. You could put more effects on it, like Scrap said, but also at some point you're going to get to a point where one effect is going to be like a Gaze in the All-Seer, just like that's so powerful, everyone's going to take it, and you don't care that there's a trinket in Undermine that lets you summon thugs. If you have Lust, it summons all 4 thugs and they beat up on people, and that just seems like a really cool trinket, but you just use the mug jug because it's a stat stick. So
This is
But you know what?
like,
well, this
The
is the way I look
small
at it. Let me
identity-
defend against it, right? The idea behind the uniqueness of the item is all based on the power of the item. Okay. There might be some really good transmog, of course.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I'm thinking more of the transmog, honestly.
Yeah,
Can
and
be
many
a
people
thing
might.
that gives
Many people
identity.
might. But THD doesn't care about the transmog, right?
Oh, okay, fine.
He's advocating the idea that like there's a pair of boots, there's a pair of gloves that would make you question, like, do I put my 4-set here because I want those gloves, not because of the stats, but because they're so unique and powerful, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But and so legendaries is an example of this, and
Yep.
we'll use Gaze of the All-Seer as well. Let's assume Gaze of the All-Seer was only dropping from Lura Heroic, okay?
Okay.
So M+ off the bat is just not getting access to this. Will the
Mhm.
players be happy?
No, I don't think that solves the identity problem.
Right? But so like that's the thing is
That's
like
not addressing it at all.
It's a double-edged sword. If you want that kind of like excitement around the uniqueness of the item, and trinkets.
But I don't think putting it further in the
So-
raid makes it more unique, right? Like,
I think what you were kind of getting to is the way the game is right now with the different tracks and the item levels and everything having like a myth track. like let's say you craft your shield, but then you get a mythcraft shield, or I'm sorry, a mythtrack shield in your vault, and then you sim it. There's very rarely ever going to be a time where that 3 item levels you get from the mythtrack one is going to be so much higher, just because of how
No.
the game is with its stats and everything. But
Forget just for a second the tracks, right? I'm talking about
right,
like
but no, what I'm trying to say is, but let's say like there was different power levels based on what you did, and then you would actually get excited about a shield because you would, like you were saying, Frank, if it was like heroic raid or mythic raid, for example, you can only get it in one of those, as opposed to getting a lesser version of it. Like that would make it more unique and more exciting. But like you said, also people don't seem to like that when
well,
that
and I
does
also
happen,
think it does
so.
make it unique if everyone has it, just not as powerful, right? The example
Yeah.
that another example they talked about was tier sets. How back in Classic, and again, Classic's an entirely different monster, but like you would see someone early in Classic with the T2 shoulders, and
Oh,
it'd
and
be
you'd
like,
be
oh
like,
fuck, right? You know, like,
Yeah.
or you'd see someone with maybe not necessarily legendary like Thunder Fury, but you'd see them with one of the shields, or you know something that would stand out, and they'd go, oh fuck, right?
But like with how quickly paced the seasons are
Exactly.
now, it would suck if like
Exactly.
you work hard for it and you just like don't get it. It's
Or
like,
in
oh
the
well,
inverse,
fuck.
in the inverse, right? You don't get it, and you just feel like I can't compete, because that's just like how everyone's mentality in Warcraft.
Yeah,
is
no,
now.
I don't think that
Yeah,
works
yeah.
for the way the
Yeah.
game is now. But I
And
do feel like I know that this guy doesn't care about it, but if there was like, oh, shiny red high-heeled boots that drops out of Mythic Plus or something, and it's just like a transmog that doesn't match anything else, and it's like iconic. Like I remember in BFA there was this shoulders that dropped from Freehold that was just like a shark teeth on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It was like a shark jaw on your shoulder. And
Yeah.
I wanted it so fucking bad for the transmog. And it didn't match anything else. It was just like it drops from Freehold from the guy who's the shark guy. I would love to see more stuff like that that's tied into dungeon identity, that's like not for a set that like all matches arbitrarily. Like, oh, like the boots from Algathar also, well, not Algathar, but the boots from Magister's Terrace just happen to match the pants from Mysara Caverns. And it's like, well, that doesn't fucking make any sense.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true.
Or, you know, like even so much as like just having some sort of glow on them or whatever, just to
I mean,
distinguish them.
technique, like God rest his soul. Like he used to
He's
say,
not
like
dead. He's not
Oh,
dead.
he used to say, like, you know, I see a boss with like gloves on. I want his gloves, right?
Yeah.
Like that was something he advocated for. Like if I'm fighting this guy with that weapon, I want his weapon, and they do that. Not infrequently with
Weapons are different.
Yeah, they do it not infrequently with weapons and shields and stuff, but it would be cool if it's like, dude, I kill that guy and I get his shoes, the shoes that he's wearing. And it's like, it won't come to be like all matching. If you want all matching, you wear the tier set from the raid that all matching and stuff like that. But I kind of miss the classic where everybody was wearing like pink shoes, purple belt,
Yeah.
like green cloak
Hideous,
or whatever.
hideous.
It's just
Yeah.
well, but it's like just what you got. Like
Yeah.
it's like you got purple stuff from Wailing Caverns because it was all snakes, and then you go to fucking not Freehold, what's it, Dead Mines, and it's like, you know, bandana and I don't know, human-y type stuff. It's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, that's because that's where I got it. I think that would bring huge identity. I know it doesn't count for him because he like doesn't care about transmog. He just wants like he just wants a piece of gear to lord
It's
over
like-
people, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like a badge, like a trophy, right?
That's what Technique had always said too, but I don't think that's good for the game. It's not good for casual players. It's
Yeah.
not good
What-
for people who want bad luck protection. Like,
I ask you what you're
What
saying.
sucks about that concept in at least the modern game is the reason why that works so well in Classic is because everything is so low res that it all kind of fits together,
Well,
even if it
Yeah.
sticks out a little bit. Whereas in WoW, just go into your thing, untransmog all your gear, and just like look at how mismatched everything is.
but you can there's so much transmog that I often find like shoulders from like BFA that match something from like Cataclysm, that like match the boots from this, that match the stuff from that. So I like that, you know,
Yeah,
when
you can go on Wowhead
can
and look
do
at
that.
people. They'll submit like transmogs and they
Really
pull
creative
from
but
all-
stuff.
like yeah, but like are you showing off something from 10 years ago today, or do you want someone to look at you and go, you're powerful now? You know what I mean?
Well, that's
I
I think
think
that's his
now with the
advocate, right?
transmog system
Yeah.
is that you're not really seeing that much. But I mean, I feel like there's stuff like, you know, you see someone with a pussy wagon and you're like, whoa, not this season, of course, not this season where they made it too easy. But like in
They
Yeah,
made it
past
too easy, so
seasons,
you don't
hasn't
have
done
it.
it yet.
I haven't done it yet.
It's the
I'm
kitten
just,
wagon this season.
yeah,
No,
kitten
but,
wagon,
like,
dude.
I think the big don't get me wrong. I fully understand what even like Technique sometimes in his insanity was what he was advocating for made sense. But the problem isn't that; it's that the game just doesn't like live like that anymore. The
Yeah, it
seasons
doesn't
are way
support
too
it.
quick,
Like,
right? Or they're like ride or die, especially in the meta sense, right? Rep Paladins could not do anything if they didn't have Phyrex, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
And you like, how hard was it to get until they made it like super easy in season 4?
right.
No, I genuinely hate when there's stuff like that it's like, dude, I'm missing. Like sometimes they make trinkets so powerful that like if you don't have it, you're just like fucked. Like so stupid.
Yeah.
I remember I was on my Fury Warrior, I think in Shadowlands, and I was using like a normal version of this trinket that dropped from a raid like the entire next season because it was so powerful. That doesn't feel good,
So
man.
let me. I'm curious. Just do you guys like would you guys like gear to be carried over to the next season, or do you like replacing everything? I remember,
I
you
like
know,
replacing stuff.
I remember when you had like the 2 and 2, like the 100 tier sets. You didn't like that, but I do find that interesting, and like, you know, like in something like TBC or something. A lot of times you'll see like people keep an old 2 set with a new 2 set because the new 4 set kind of sucks. But the old 4 set wasn't that great either, so they just use the 2 and 2. Like, do you guys
The
think
the
that
shitty thing is
would be
that
interesting, or would you rather
for the
like
if you could
switch
upgrade
everything
it,
out?
like if you could upgrade it to the current item level, the problem was in that season where I was forced to the last 4 set is that I didn't have the agility or stamina of current level gear. Like, and so I was just kind of like hindered in that way, right? Like it was still
But
doing more
it's
damage,
sim
but
tire, right? Yeah. So would it matter?
What does it matter?
but I was missing like the stamina and stuff. But it just felt really shitty because it was like, man, if this 4 set was like current, like if I could keep upgrading it, like, you know, it's like, hey, you have this thing. But I don't think that would be good for the game either, because like there's people who come into season 3 and they're like, I can't get like the season 1 gear now, and that's like my bis.
I like when you can kind of keep stuff, but I also don't think it's practical either because, you know, are you like, let's say like Mr. Pick Me Up, like if that was randomly meta throughout all of what's it called? The Mana Forge Omega, you know, our guild's gonna go back every week and run Liberation of Undermine if their healer doesn't have
Yeah,
it.
if
Like,
you
no, you're
never
not gonna
had
do
it.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
so and so that kind of can't really exist, but
It's not
like,
good for the casual player.
yeah, exactly.
And it's not good for somebody who's coming in to a later season. It's just not good. And as
Yeah.
much as there's no identity to gear, I do enjoy getting it. Like I love those first couple weeks of Mythic Plus where you're just like getting stuff that's and just throwing on upgrades willy-nilly. You're like, this doesn't have my
Yeah.
stats, but like I don't care. It's like a big upgrade. Like I'll
Well,
get the stat one eventually.
And even to be clear, I want to like, I think the idea of legendaries is awesome. But for 2 reasons. One, I've never had a legendary I needed to get on my main. Like mages haven't had a legendary that I can remember, you know, standalone one in a while. And so I think it's not the problem that not everyone's going to have the legendary, not everyone's going to have those, you know, very rare X, Y's, and Z's, or even the trinkets. But the problem is the players, right? The players are just going to be so curmudgeon-y that they don't want that. Or
There's
they're upset that,
entitlement.
or there's like, yeah, or they're upset that they're not in the club and they want to get in. And so the reason why Blizzard's never going to do that, well, I shouldn't say never, but like doesn't want to do that often, is because everyone that's left out of the Cool Kids Club are going to be really upset and most likely, you know, quit the season after a certain amount of time because they're like, well, I didn't get it, so the season's scuffed. I'm moving on.
You know,
I like the way they do it now with bad luck protection, where it's like you can work towards the things that you want.
yeah, with like how Shadowlands went, and when everyone was kind of talking about how could this be the end of WoW, to kind of see how they've pulled it back to get like to the point where like 3 million people are doing Mythic Plus keys a week, even when there's, you know, like 5 or 6 weeks into the season. Like obviously it seems like there's bigger goals in mind, and it doesn't seem like the uniqueness of gear, while it is something I think you can notice, especially if you're a longer term player. You're like, I kind of miss that feeling. You can see why they made the change and where maybe it doesn't necessarily fit in today's game.
All right, Lythian, you've been quiet. Anything you want to add?
No, I mean, they create a wide database full of gear and items, but everybody needs the same stuff, and so it doesn't really matter at the end. Like you're not
In the end,
you're not building anything. Like I don't know. I agree with the guy, whoever the guy
doesn't
is.
even matter.
I think you're agreeing for the
Everybody-
wrong reason, though, but okay.
Well, what's the point? Like everybody's going after the same gear.
If
I'm gonna
you-
go to
But
Wowhead
if
and
what
see
you're
what gear
complaining
I
about
need.
is that you don't want that, because he's saying there should be so many powerful trinkets or the like that everyone's gonna want it, and you're saying you don't like
No,
that.
I think there should be so many powerful trinkets that I can choose which ones I want and
Yeah, the play
make it
style of.
unique. Yeah, and make it unique. If that disagrees with what the guy is saying, then I disagree with the guy. But
No,
I didn't really.
I do think it is fun when you are able to have like a couple different trinkets in your bag and you're like, this is good for this situation, this is good
Well,
for this
yeah, like
situation. But
there's nothing like I have a set of gear. I keep that same set of gear for almost everything I do, unless I
Yeah,
go like maybe if I do dells, maybe I'll do something different, but probably
Could
not
PvP.
because
not with gear, right?
no, I'm not
yeah, but
PvP.
Lythian, you're also the guy who doesn't change his talent tree to get soothe in a dungeon that requires soothe. You know.
That's so true,
If I have
Lythian.
two people that
He's
can
so real for
soothe, then
that.
I don't worry about it. But my point is, you know, it's still
He's advocating that there should be boots that everyone like that are so strong that everyone wants to chase it, like they remember
is he
the
agreeing
name.
with me or
Lithian
is he
does not
disagreeing
agree with
me?
that.
Lithian
Lithian does
does
not
not
I
agree
don't
agree
with
with
agree.
that.
that.
Then I don't
Yeah.
agree with
Okay,
it. Whatever.
okay. You're saying that you don't like the idea that there's a trinket everyone wants, right?
Yeah, he's
And
No,
you're
I
saying that
don't.
you
wants
want
people
every
to
trinket to
choose.
be equally matched, but like they can't then all be unique because like
I want uniqueness in how we can use gear across different dungeons and different
okay.
scenarios
So you want
and things like
Different
variety. You want
characters.
variety of utility.
Variety
Yeah,
and
yes.
Okay, but that's trinket based, and he's more advocating on
I'm
the
not
idea of
talking
like
about trinkets.
shoulders
I'm talking
or
about your entire set. Like I'm so tired of the 4-piece. I'm so
I'm tired of the
tired.
4-piece
okay. Well,
too.
we're gonna get to that.
It
We're gonna
would
get to that.
so
We're gonna get to that.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
I'll wait for
one
that.
thing that would be kind of interesting and kind of based on what Lithian's talking in to bring classic back into it in TBC, almost every class has like a dungeon set, like a blue rare set that's in throughout all the dungeons. It would be interesting if there was like a mythic plus tier set that you could go after in addition. If Blizzard ever did do something like this, I imagine they would just put it on one type of gear. So I don't know if you would have to like switch it out, but it would be interesting if there was like, okay, this 4 set's better for raid, this 4 set's better for M plus, and then
I think
I
that's
can use
impossible
this.
to balance.
There's
You're
so
right,
many
but
classes and shit, but like that would be awesome.
that'd be cool. But yeah, I don't know how they would do it.
It'd have to be either
But
so generic that it's like when you're in this zone you do this,
Yeah.
or it would be like, okay, how do we make this like for Shadow Priest versus Fire Mage? You know,
Get on it, Claude. You can do it.
All right, you ready to move on?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The next headline: the Crest system is bad. So he's arguing.
Why?
He's arguing you log in, you fill your crests, and you're done with the week, right? There's
Great.
crest downgrade shenanigans that we already discussed. He said there's random sources of uncapped crests, but how the fuck is anyone supposed to know that? And you know, like then there are the videos that make people feel FOMO for going and getting the, you know,
But
they,
these are sorry. Can I cut you off for a
yeah,
second?
sure.
These are such tiny advantages or disadvantages, right? That why are you bothered by this? You can't throw the whole system out because people are finding tiny.
They're tiny advantages now, Scrap, but like in week 2, where again, this is where he's like in the mindset of, they are a huge deal, right?
Well, I kind of agree that they should smooth it out so that there's not like not communicated advantages that you can pursue, right? Like they should either communicate these advantages you can get or get rid of them. Like
Hold on.
What do you mean communicate it? Like, what would your expectation
like
be?
if there's a way to say, like, if maybe there's a pop-up that says, hey, if you upgrade this gear all the way, you can save mythic crests later or something. I don't know what all
the
these
mouse.
are. That's
The
the only one I'm
tooltip
familiar
will
with.
read that these like this doesn't contribute towards your weekly cap, right?
Okay, I mean that's good. No, I'm talking about like the way you like upgrade with hero crest all the way so that you don't have to use the first couple tiers of mythic crest.
Yeah.
If it could communicate that in some way, like if they're gonna leave that advantage
hold on, time out. Yes, we'll get to that in just a second. I want to get Lythian a chance to say what he wanted to say, and then we'll answer that.
Oh my
No,
God.
my question is he saying it's bad because you can min-max it, or is he just saying it's bad in general?
I think he's saying it's bad. Well, okay, so he talks a lot about Mythic Plus and why the crests are uneven from that versus Raid, which I kind of agree with. He said like it's a bad system, and this is to Scrap's point, where it's like, hey, don't upgrade your Myth 1 out of 6. Instead, go get a trinket from a dungeon or whatever at Hero Track, and then upgrade that 6 out of 6 so that you can get your free 20 myth crests, right?
I don't think that's info the casual player needs to know, right?
So
Because
yeah,
it's such
that's
a
where I
small
was going to
amount.
go with this, right?
Is that the mythic like world race to world firster, they're gonna look all that shit up anyway. They don't need the game to communicate to them these things because they have to look all that shit up. Like that's just how it is. The casual player is not being disadvantaged hugely by having to use a couple extra mythic crests because eventually we all end up in the same fucking place, right? So
Well, the
unless
thing
you're
is, though, Strap, you
pushing
said it yourself,
at a
right? People
time,
are telling you, hey, don't do that. That's like not
get
min-maxing,
better
or that's not
friends.
efficient. But the what?
Those are
Get
people
better friends?
who,
Yeah, get better
yeah,
friends.
You're talking about
Like,
people in our Discord, Scrap.
I just
yeah,
ignore
they're
those people.
terrible. They're
People are
terrible
always
people.
telling me,
It's
"Don't
fine.
upgrade this. Don't spend your crests on that." You know, I just go la 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 la, and I do whatever I want, and I don't care.
Yeah,
I
just do what
agree.
you want. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like you're gonna get capped. The only thing I don't like is you get capped. Well, you get capped on crests, and then you're doing keys for. If you're not doing keys for score, then what are you doing keys for? Like,
Well,
there's no reason.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, there shouldn't be a FOMO
I'm
expectation of like
okay.
you have to play all week, like 24/7 and get more.
Well,
Like, I like that
he
there's
doesn't
kind of
agree
a
with that.
cap.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
I know he doesn't agree with it, but I think a cap is a nice way of saying, okay, you're done. Go play a different game.
Well, if
Or
you
just go
if
do
you
life.
Go
if
outside,
you
do laundry.
want
Like,
if you want to know life it and you want to get all your gear upgraded, who
mhm.
cares? That's a
Well, okay,
choice.
so Lithian, put
But I
that
don't
on
want the
ice because
pressure
we're
of
gonna get
that.
to that. We're gonna get to that.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Um,
So let's. Sorry, I asked you go.
On your main, doing it once, I think it feels satisfying because it kind of staggers your progression a bit and it gives you something to work for. And then when you get something, it gives you the opportunity to get something you might not have been able to get that's more powerful because you get an item, you can get a myth item, but it's not at full myth power. So before you would just get the item, it'd be a full power, but you'd have to do the content to get it. Now you can get that stuff weaker and then work it up to that power thing. So you still have to play. I think that ends up being good, but then when it comes to maybe I want to play another character, I think that's kind of when it starts to get a little exhausting, is when you have to do it multiple times on multiple characters, especially if you haven't been keeping up. I know this season in particular is a bit different because of the rules and everything, so you kind of skip some of that if you're getting like a lot of the myth stuff early, because you would probably, like, for example, if we were running alts, we'd probably be helping each other through 10s or something,
Yeah.
and you would just be getting myth
Yeah.
crest but no hero crest, right? So you'd be able to get myth
Which is a
stuff
big
sooner,
problem I'm
but
having right now.
right. And I think that, like, doing it a bunch of times kind of sucks, but doing it on one character, I think, doesn't feel that bad. So I guess I'm not entirely agreeing with what his point, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this is like a week 1, week 2. I'm pushing to the limits of the galaxy, and I can understand why it's like shenanigans, but at the same time, like, again, they even call it, they do degenerate shit all the time. That's what they're going to do. They're going to find whatever loophole and
Yeah.
exploit it. Whereas the everyday person, right, is, I'm not going to say they don't care about their gear score and they don't care about like trying to, like Stoop's a good example of this. Stoop is our hunter. He just like he always is. He's like, I think 286 right now. He's like one of the highest high levels out of any of us, right? He cares about it, but I don't think he's gonna sit there and do like napkin math to figure out how does he make it the most efficient. He's just like, he's playing the game, he's having a good time, and he's
Yeah.
making sure his gear is getting stronger. And this system is the best I've seen so far about making sure that you do content, and even if you don't get a drop, or even if you're helping a friend out do their 10, I'm still filling up my myth track or my myth crests. And I've done 10s on Frankenberry, my alt, pretty much every week to fill the vault. And I'm just barely at the crest cap for myth, but I have no hero crests because I
Can
don't
you
raid on them.
downgrade your myths to heroes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just do that.
Well, no, and
Supposedly,
I don't even need to, because we're gonna get to this in
Well,
a second. But like, there are now ways to also get hero crests without having to do like +5s, which may be hard to find in this day and age, through other content. And so
You can
like,
get them in like delves and shit.
yeah,
can't
yeah,
you?
you can do
Yeah.
what are the ritual sites, right?
rituals.
That's what I've been doing to
delves.
get some hero ones. And yeah, I feel like this is a good way to make sure that you're rewarded for doing something that doesn't necessarily have either something that you
So
want, or maybe you didn't get what you wanted.
I think you kind of glossed over the point where he was saying it's like too easy to get mythic crests in Mythic Plus, where
Well,
it's hard to
I
get.
was gonna get to that, yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. You mentioned it as like
Yeah.
when you primed it. I totally agree with that. And I think that that leads to the scarcity of hero crest because nobody is fucking doing stuff at that level, right? And you still have gear at that
Unless you're
level.
rating, which
Yeah,
is
unless
2
you
to 3,
raid.
4 or 5
I'm
hours of
soft
your
with
week.
hero crest, but it's like if you're just doing mythic plus, you're never gonna see hero crest ever unless like I don't know why you would just be doing fives. Like that's
One
crazy shit.
one
But
thing
I also
about
sorry, go ahead.
no, you finish your point first because
I
mine's a
was just
bit
gonna say
different.
I do agree that I don't particularly like the shenanigans or the loopholes or whatever, but I don't think that's any reason to throw out the crest system. Like
And it
it's
can be
overall
fixed, right?
very
It can be
yeah,
fixed.
overall it's a very functioning system, and I don't think that the shenanigans that he's talking about really hurt at the casual player. Even like the player like us, it doesn't even really hurt us. So it's like, chill, man. Like it's fine.
I do think the crest cap is interesting though, because I know for me, when I get like a piece of gear that's stuck on like a random like 3 of 6 when everything else is like nice even numbers, that really
Yeah.
bothers me. So I do wish that there was a way if you wanted to play a little more, you could obtain more crests to maybe even some of that stuff out. But
You got next week.
that's like a
No, you got the
yeah, that's like
random,
a
go complete the campaign and get the uncapped crests, or go
Mhm.
do a what was that, like, broken key from Delves that like gave you 30 myth.
Or how about this? Plan better. Plan better what you upgrade.
Well, no, so here's the thing. He said this, and I was like blown away by it. Now, granted, this would make sense in week 1 or week 2, which is like where I came to a realization of it. But like, he said, "Oh, you just got a a myth 1 out of 6 out of your vault. Let's just say." And he's like, "Well, don't spend the 20 crests on that. Go and get a trinket from a +10 or whatever, and upgrade that." But like the time that would take to run the +10, and then hope that you get your trinket drop. It doesn't drop, so you have to run it again and again and again. And like by that point, you're wasting so much time just to save the 20 crests. What are you doing? Like, it's just,
yeah, this
I
is
get it, but like why? Like,
I don't know if this is something a lot of people deal with, but that feels like a uniquely like high percentage
Yes.
problem.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
Yeah.
think most people are going to
I
get
wouldn't
that thing
advocate for it. Yeah.
out of their vault or whatever, and they're just going to slam the upgrades into it because they're excited. You know what I mean? So
Well, yeah, and it's also awesome. It's like I got pants. They're not my BIS pants, but there's no reason for me not to upgrade it because when I do get my BIS pants, it's free to upgrade it to this level. So like
yeah,
that's awesome quality of life for the player. Like that didn't used to be the case. Like if you wasted your crest on some non-BIS bullshit, it's like you had to waste them again on when you got your BIS. So it's like this is like the most like player centric system, especially now that they got rid of the fucking Valor stones, right? Like
yeah.
it makes sense. It's heroic, mythic. It doesn't have silly names that I can't remember the difference between aspect crests and I don't remember what the other ones are called. Like
I
gilded,
do
whatever. It's the best system so far.
I do like, you log on every week, you do maybe your 8 keys for vault, you do your dungeons, your cap. Usually that will cap you out. You do maybe a heroic grade 2, you get capped out on those. And then, yeah, like, I mean, unless there's something else you really want to be doing, there's not a lot of other things in the game, open world wise, that are going to give you power. So, yeah, you can go do other stuff. I don't think that's a bad thing,
Well, okay. To keep things moving, because we're already in an hour in, I'm gonna move on to our next topic. Any last words on the crests?
No, I think we all agree that crests are fine and he needs to
Okay.
chill.
I think if the gear can't be unique, where if a pair of pants can't be so much more powerful than another pair of pants because they're close in eye level, then the crest is probably the best way to do it for sure.
Okay. Lythian?
Crests are boring.
Okay.
Just
That's
whatever.
fine.
Next one. Content outside your current gear score is useless. Okay. Now, this is effectively advocating for bringing back AP. Let me run through this real quick. His point was,
Remind me what AP is.
artifact power,
okay.
Azurite power. What was the one for
I
covenants?
fucking hated the Azurite power, dude. That shit
Yeah.
pissed me off.
Okay, so his point is, why bother doing world quests in a day where you've done +10s, right? Why do Prey anymore? Prey was supposed to be this big, evergreen system,
Yeah.
and it's useless. Okay. He brought up Legion I used Legion Remix as my example, but he brought up Legion, where because of artifact power, you would go and do the normal raids, the heroic raids, and then the mythic raids, because 1, Titan forging, which we'll get to in a second, but 2, you would also kind of slowly build up your artifact power. Nobody wants to go and do normal raid right now if they've outgeared it. And so then what ends up happening is all these people who like aren't either like good at playing the game or maybe just like have zero time to play it, so they're just doing normal because that's like where their gear is at. Like it leaves them in this vacuum where it's like there's no leadership and there's no one there to carry and blah blah blah. So like it also creates this problem where re-rolling in the meta is so easy now because you're not investing in a single character, right?
That's true.
So like on that point real quick, the idea that you're not playing a single character, like okay, so let's say Lythian played his brewmaster, like he built his quote unquote artifact power up to, you know, a really high level, and then bear became the meta. Well, if that were the case, right, Lythian, would you feel good about continuing to play brewmaster going forward, knowing that you're not going to be taken into groups anymore? Because let's say they nerfed brewmaster into the ground.
I mean, I think if you are about your character's identity and you enjoy playing that character because of the identity that the character gives you, then I wouldn't care, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't bother me, right? I'm not that person. I play whatever the wheel chooses and I'm happy about it, or I'll do whatever, right? And so, you know, but I don't chase the meta. You know, I am the opposite actually. I like
Yeah.
to not play the meta because it bothers me to play the meta. But either way, you know, it wouldn't be as discouraging to somebody like me, but to somebody who is chasing the meta, who is trying to get that 1% title, and who is trying to get all those accolades, 100%, they would probably get upset about it. So,
Well, and here's the thing.
you know,
So like I see it because he's like, well, you'll stick it out because you put so much work into your, you know, again, your brewmaster in this case. I feel like it was the opposite. I feel like people would be like, oh, fuck that. There's no point in continuing anymore. And they'd quit. Right.
And not play at all.
No. And again, this goes back exactly to covenants and why they created covenants in the first place in Shadowlands. They wanted you to have a meaningful choice to what you committed to. And everyone lost their fucking mind.
People didn't like it. So
Right?
I mean, I kind of agree with him a little bit. I don't like it being associated with the grind. Like I didn't like the Azerite power grind where you had to do this bullshit.
His point was if you get on and you play all day every day, you should be ahead of everyone else.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that part. However, I mean, if we're looking at the most extreme case, right, in Classic, like, you couldn't play more than one spec reasonably because you'd have to pay, like, 100 gold to change your talents at a certain point. So you dedicated to, I'm gonna be a survival hunter, and that's what I am, and people can't ask me to play something different because that's
No one
it.
was survival hunter, but yeah, okay.
I know. I was just using as an example. And it's also like you can't just like, oh, all of a sudden, you know, this like paladin's meta, like, okay, it's gonna take you like 100 hours to level another paladin. Like, there's such a time investment into being dedicated to one character. I mean, I'm speaking for myself in that like I normally play one character per season. I don't really play alts, but I like it to be like less accessible to play all characters all the time anytime you want. I know that's like hinders people like Lythian. Lythian was just talking about how he's like, oh, I wish, or I can't remember, one of you guys was saying like, oh, I wish that you know, it was easier for me to catch up on Crests or catch up on this on an alt, right? um I think it's better for there to be like an advantage, like I don't want to say like an extreme advantage, like if you play all day every day, but an advantage for logging on to the same character every week, you know?
Yeah.
Um
With the crest system too, the cap raises every week. So even if you are re-rolling, by the time if someone is playing at the level where they would want to re-roll, they're probably going to have all the time in the day to get that character right up to where they want to be anyway. So that's
yeah,
not even
yeah.
something they really have to deal with.
I do understand his desire for something that rewards someone for sticking to a character and having it as their identity, right? But I think in that way, there are rewards for that. Like there's like transmogs you got out of this raid. Like if you're really playing the character all the time, it's like you have like collectibles and things that marked your time on that character.
He does not give a shit.
I know he doesn't give a shit about that. But that's what he's asking for, and that's what we have.
No, what he's
so.
asking for is that if I go do normal raid, that I should get crests for that I need, like myth crests, right?
I don't like having to do
a small amount, of course, but like, you know.
Yeah. So at first when you started the sentence where you're like, oh, like, you know, you're not doing all this content that they have for you because you've outgeared it. I was like, yeah, I agree. Like, I want to have a reason to do prey because it's fun and shit. Like, and there should be a higher difficulty level for people who are really outgeared it. But no, he was saying because I want to have an advantage over people.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't agree with that part of it.
To be fair, if I think if you invest the time and you put more time into a character than other people are putting into that character, then you should have something in return for the time you're investing in that character, right?
What that is you're good at it. Like you get better at it.
So Growl made
No, I
that point. He
mean,
said, like, THD, if you were to get in on a warlock group, right, and you're 10 eye levels behind everyone else, you're still going to gap them because you have that expertise and knowledge of being the one warlock guy, right?
Yeah.
The same thing with me in Arcane, right? I'm going to gap all the Arcane mages that meta switched because they just have no fucking clue what they're doing.
But there
Right.
is, I feel like that is less a thing now because the classes are much easier to pick up, which is better for the
No.
casual.
I
Scrap,
don't think that's
Arcane
true.
mages are still shit, you know?
I
I've
think it's
seen-
easier to pick
And
up.
Scrap,
It's not,
you're
like,
playing
easy to pick up.
Devourer and you're not keeping up.
I'm playing
Yeah.
what?
You're playing Devourer and you're not keeping up with the meta.
What are you talking about? I'm awesome at it.
Here we go.
You're not. You're not.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
put up
That's
I'm gonna put up an MDL sheet that says, does Scrap get above a 30% parse on the next DPS code?
Woof. Okay, put one up.
No,
But-
so like he's like first off he brought up the fact, so he said people in my guild, now this is Liquid, okay, he's like, I bet only 5 people completed the campaign because like why bother? And I'm like, well, you're Liquid, like no
Yeah,
one, they're
what?
not playing for the campaign.
I
right?
feel like most people play the campaign. I mean, that may be just shot in the
Yeah.
dark, I feel, but
Yeah.
Well,
bet
most regular people.
WoW
do.
players complete the
Yeah,
campaign.
it's another just uniquely top 1% take. I feel like I
Yeah.
get the idea where, like, you know, back in the day, if you think like back in the day, like you had to do world content for maybe like a raid attunement or something, so there was a reason maybe to be playing more than just, okay, I finished my Mythic Plus dungeons. But like, let's use that island, the Ring Island from the Siren Isles or whatever, for example. Like Haywire
love
and
it.
Stoop are friends. They did that to the very end. They got the achievements, they got the mount. Most people just did it for the ring. There's stuff in this game
Yep.
that's for that people just log in, they just want to chill. They don't care about, you know, they do their dungeons maybe, or they just are doing whatever, but they like doing the ritual sites. They care about the cosmetics. Like there's more loops in this game for the people that will enjoy them than there are the types of people who play. So like, you know, if you're someone who enjoys, if you're like Scrap, you might enjoy the idea of the open world stuff, but she likes Mythic Plus. She likes the raid until you get AOTC. That's what she's gonna want to do over and over again. And then when she's bored of that, all right, she's done. She's not gonna come back just because there's some new, unless it's like Brawlers Guild or something. She seems to be
Oh, I
real
love
into that. But you know, so it's just a different, you know, you don't, people, there's got to be loops that exist for every type of player. Like everything in the game can't just directly refer to, okay, you're playing this, you want a mythic piece of gear. Like you got to do stuff that's closer to that than just, oh, I killed like 10 things in the open world for a world quest.
Now what I do
Yeah, I
agree with,
mean-
oh sorry, go on, Lythian.
No, I agree with IO. Like people are gonna be like, we like to think, or people, I don't think this, but I think people like to think that those folks on that other podcast, I can't remember the name of it, whatever it is.
Well, you know, Tettles, Tettles because everyone says Scraps are Tettles.
Tettles
Is it a compliment?
Nope.
No.
The only reason why I know Tettles is because everybody makes fun of them. But they like to think those folks are out of touch, right? Because they're chasing.
I
the
felt that
1%
listening to this
look,
episode. I
right?
felt like they just could not
But-
grasp the concept that there were people out there playing ritual sites because
they're-
that's their gameplay.
Because
loop.
it's fun.
they're out of touch with the rest of the player base, but they're totally in touch with their community. They're in
Yes,
touch with their
absolutely.
people. And so I think that's kind of what I was leaning into is like you're into what you're into and they're into being those 1% players and we're into doing all the things.
But
right?
what my problem is like the about face on, I'm going to use Covenants as the extreme example here because like that was, Ian said, we wanted you to have a meaningful choice to what you did. Scarp, what are you doing?
You starting a fire?
I'm lighting a candle.
Anyways, so Ian said, look, Covenants are this because we want you to have a meaningful, we want an RPG choice, right? Like we want something that you have to commit to. And everyone like was revolting and quitting and like, you know, at like lowest numbers ever in season 1. So they had to change it and say you can freely change all you want. And
Can I say something about Covenants really quick?
Sure.
I only started playing it in Shadowlands because I thought Covenant sounded so cool.
Cool.
So
Now, okay. again, for the sake of time, we're going to keep moving. But like one thing I did kind of agree with though is the idea of Titan forging, right? Being able to, it need to be rare. But the problem with Titan forging originally was that you could like Titan forge your way into an insane, insanely powerful item. I think it was even higher than like Mythic gear would have dropped. And I don't think that should be the case. But if I go and do normal raid and I have a very slight chance of proccing even a Mythic gaze or whatever, it would mean I'd be doing normal much more frequently. Yeah. And the reason why people advocated against it, and there was this post that they brought up, which I remember seeing back in the day for Legion, was the McDonald's chicken nugget Titan Forge, right? The McTitan Forge. The argument was, imagine you go to McDonald's, you order a 10-piece nuggets, and you're like, cool, I'm happy. The guy behind you orders a 10-piece nuggets as well, and he Titan Forges into a 20-piece with fries and a drink. And you're like,
fuck that, yeah.
Well, so scrap. You say fuck that, right? Like, that is the epitome of World of Warcraft players and they're complaining. Is some guy just had a nice little thing happen for him and you're like, fuck him, I hate everyone, this game is stupid, right? You got your money's worth, you got your 10 nuggets, but you're still unhappy.
Yeah.
The best example of them doing something like that, I feel like, is for Fearleth the Axe. They did it where, like, what if you ran it on heroic, you got your highest chance you were gonna get it, but like you could also run it on Raid Finder and normal if you wanted to and still have a chance. So you could, maybe if they did something like that for like maybe if they could work that into like a Voidcore type system, like, that'd be interesting. But if you run it on Mythic though and you don't get it, does that take away all your chances for the week, or could you run it on normal first to see if you get it, and then so they have to figure that out, I guess.
Well, if they did that, it would defeat the purpose of now I'm not going to go to normal because I did it on Mythic, right? And that's what he wants to advocate for. Sorry, Scrap, go.
I want to pitch my idea. Okay, so last week we talked about the re-rolling system or whatever the fuck and how we all really like it, but it still sucks because you can't just like get the thing you want. Like, you can't work towards the thing you want. It's still like on a chance, whatever. I think it's fine. But additionally to this, because I love this system, if there was something where you could every week work towards an item, where it's like, I want to craft a Farak axe or whatever. And it's like, well, you might need to get a stick from here this week and a fragment from here and whatever. And then you could craft
Farak involved that anyways. Once you got
I know that one. That's not a good example, but because it did involve that, right?
Yeah.
But like, but that instead of giving me a dinar and just I can buy it from a vendor, it's like, okay, you have to build your dinar and then you can get the thing that you want, and you only get one per season. You get one per season where you just get to pick the item off the wall, in addition to the re-rolling stuff. Then that could be cool. Then it's like, you're committing to working on this every week on this character, so then you're rewarded for playing the same character. You might not need it because you might get the thing and get lucky and raid, but it's also good for people who like don't raid at all, just do Mythic Plus, and it's like, okay, well, you can be working towards this item just once per season. Like, that's my little pitch. It'll be fun.
I don't know. There's like a couple of classes. Well, it's not that I don't like it. It's that, like, I think there's a couple of classes where it's not just one item that's so critical.
You don't like my idea?
You only get one. Sorry, you only get one. But
Scrap, like, back to Lythian's point about the gaze, right? How many people would be doing that for gaze?
Yeah, I would do it for the cool Demon Hunter transmog thing that looks like Laura that I'm never gonna see because we're never gonna get Laura down again.
Scrap, you can do it on LFR because it's the same color, so you just do it on LFR.
No, it's a slightly different color, I think.
I
can't remember. I actually can't remember.
I checked it, but that's okay.
Oh,
all right, we're ready to move on. Anything else you guys want to add?
One final thing I'll say is that in TBC Classic, I am a Aldor Blood Elf, and I feel horrible. I wish I just would have went Scryer, but I did it because the shoulders are better for healers, and that's the same thing with Covenants. So I think even if they added anything to the game, if they added anything like that, it wouldn't matter.
No,
well, the thing with Covenants is they promised that it wouldn't be like better to choose. They said they were going to balance it, and then it wasn't balanced enough. Like
but even then there was an inherent flaw with the idea of that, because like there would be one that would be better for raid and one that would be better for M+, and that's
and then there would be like one that's better for healing.
You can't make every single Covenant for every single class all be great at everything.
I know, but then they shouldn't have said that they were going to balance it.
Look, again, we've talked about balancing. Like the problem is, Scrap, that you say it was unbalanced, but really all it was, and there were some egregious ones. I'm not saying there weren't, but like for most of it was like, Oh, this one's
1%.
1%, 2% better.
Yeah,
and you
no,
said earlier that the trinket
yeah.
doesn't matter if it's 1% better. Just be a
Yeah, I honestly I played as the reason I picked Fury Warrior, I never played it before, is because the Covenant was I don't remember what it's called, the one with Denathrius in it, the vampire guys.
Yeah.
And I thought the
Oh.
transmogs and stuff looked cool, and I picked it, and it was like Bis for Fury. But then like within 2 weeks they balanced it, it wasn't Bis anymore, and I was like, well, I'm kind of stuck with it. And it wasn't that big of a difference between Bis and not Bis, and so it was like fine. Also, I wasn't that good at the game either, so.
All right. No, what I wanted to bring up, and Lythian, you played Legion Remix, but like what I don't want to have happen though is this idea that I have to log in every day. And
Yeah, I don't like that.
With Legion Remix and do every single raid on normal, heroic, and mythic. And granted, that was daily because it was remix, but let's say it's weekly. It's just like it's homework, and it's going back exactly to the problem everyone was complaining about with AP power. And I'm just like blown away that people are now starting to advocate for it to come back. And really, it's just the people who are just trying to push themselves to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
And they want that 1% advantage. You know, yeah, if you keep it very, very, very minimal, then maybe it's not a big deal. But like, people are going to feel obligated even if they don't get to that point.
Yeah.
I feel
For
like
sure.
victimized when they do stuff like that. It's like they're saying like, yeah, you better stay subbed because you have to play every day to keep up or whatever. Like there's an amount of that, but I just feel like I don't.
You do it for trader posts, so you know.
Well, I do it for trading posts because they give me good shit. Like I'm not saying like I have to do it for trading
People
posts.
would argue the
It's not fair.
1% damage increase is good shit.
Yeah, I guess so, but it's like I don't want to feel like they're putting some arbitrary thing in there to keep me logging on every day and to not enjoy my experience logging on every day. Like
That's
if
the
it's not
thing.
fun, it's like I just have to do it. Like it just feels like they're like, ah, fuck you, you're gonna do it anyway because you want that 1%, don't you, you stupid little bitch? Like that makes me feel bad. I feel
Wow.
like I'm
Okay.
just saying I feel like a
Let's keep
victim.
moving.
I feel
Let's
like
keep
I'm being
moving.
taken.
Yep, I agree. All
Can,
right.
can I just say one thing,
Oh.
not about that take, but about in general, my impression of this guy's take so far?
Mhm.
Yes.
You have
I
to.
feel like the game became his job, and he's not having fun anymore, and he's taking it out on everybody.
No, I
now.
think he actually is advocating he wants to play it more.
He loves his job.
Yeah, because he needs to stream more, and he makes money off of
He doesn't
it.
stream. He doesn't stream.
Okay, whatever. But
Or
I just
maybe he
think
does, but like he's not.
things he's complaining about. It seems like he's like, I don't like that I have to do this because I'm doing this race to world first thing, and so I have to do this, and I have to do that. Or
No,
whatever.
he's saying like I don't like Prey enough to do it without the carrot on the stick.
Yeah.
I need a carrot on the end of the stick, and I want the carrot on the end of the stick. I want to keep playing. It like again, it blows. It's a very 1% take. And I was just blown away by the idea that like, yeah, like you don't have to do Prey anymore, but like you could also do it because it was a game and that's what you're playing.
Yeah, you could also do it because you enjoy it.
I'd actually argue against it. Like I think last season or last expansion, I didn't do any of this stuff because like I didn't do delves at all, right?
Yeah,
I didn't do.
I'm out on delves.
You know, I didn't do the whatever the season 2 light guys and Dawn. Whatever.
I didn't do that either. You did it later.
But then the meta expansion came out with the player housing stuff. Now I'm doing everything now because I'm like I don't want to fall behind, and I'm actually like ritual sites. I'm surprised they're a little flat, but they're better than I thought they'd be. I like the idea that you have like the affixes you can do, kind of like the nightmare snares were.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you know, you're min-maxing to begin with. You're not going to find a capability of everything being your wheelhouse,
But
right?
I
I
feel like
wonder
Go on.
if they had to do 25 characters with an Azerite power grind, how they
Oh,
would feel
God.
about it then.
Yeah, why nobody's asking for that except for this
splits and
guy.
all that.
Apparently, it's so annoying. But
Alright.
I think just as a quick thing, like we're like especially me, I play the game because it's fun. I'm not logging on to do 8 mythic dungeons a week because I need the vault, right? Like I do it, but I'm
You
often
won't
doing
care.
12
You
or,
won't care
or
if you're
14.
not maxed out on Myth Crest week 2.
Yeah, and I'm doing I'm
You'll catch up at
maxed
some
out on
point,
Myth
whatever.
Quest. I'm maxed out in my vault. I'm not getting score from dungeons, and I'm still playing dungeons like with people. Like
You are
so
getting
it's like
score. We just hit 3,400 this week. Yay!
no, but I mean, I'm not just saying like, oh, I'm not doing that key with you because I'm not gonna get score
Oh,
off
yeah,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm there. I'm like, cool, yeah, I want to do a key. That sounds like fun, you know. Like so,
Yeah.
if they actually want us to organically play the game, it has to be inherently fun, not just only carrots
Well,
on sticks. It's
but
like
but
occasionally
Scrap,
just
you
give me a
would not
carrot
feel
with
that
no
way
stick.
if you had to do it every single day, right?
Yeah, that's like I said,
Like,
it made it his job, and now he's
Absence
miserable.
is the fondness, right? Like it's like being the fact that I can walk away from the game and then Sunday night I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of excited about
Yes,
doing dungeons.
I
now.
like that I can play it as much as I enjoy it and not feel forced to play it when I'm not enjoying it. Like, it's the perfect for me. Like, 8 dungeons a week, like, that's a lot of WoW, honestly. If you just
It is.
especially if you do raid. So raid is 6 hours a week, right? 8 dungeons, I mean, if those are half hour each, which for us, I mean, you know, it's definitely gonna be more than that. Like, that's another 6 hours. That's 12 hours a week of playing, and that's just the content, not the sitting around and bullshitting. Like, that's plenty to get from a game. 12 hours a week, man. That's like a ton of time to play a game, right?
Well worth
I'm
the
gonna have
$15 investment.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
time box scrap. What's the next?
Sorry, go on.
All right. Next one is tier sets and catalysts are useless. All right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I agree with that.
I will say this. I think there's an inherent reason why he's bringing this up, and I think he's not remembering what Blizzard said in Dragonflight around this thought process. Okay. So he's like, my tier set is so stupid. It's like 5% Hand of Gul'dan damage. Why bother? This is stupid. Like, yes, it's a 2% damage increase, but everyone's is 2% damage increase, yada yada yada, right?
Mhm.
I want to point out that in season 1 of all the expansions since Dragonflight, they made it a point in Dragonflight to call it out, and it's been the case since, that the first season's tier set is usually very diluted
Bland.
and bland, right?
Yeah.
It's because their argument is you are getting this new system. The tier set is supposed to change, dial the system a little bit. We don't need to dial it when you have a new system. In this case, like Tettles, I think, brought up, well, why not make a tier set based off the Apex talents, right? Well, we just got the Apex talents. Dialing them differently once we just got them is...
Are they specifically complaining about this season's tier set?
He was, right?
Okay.
Because they brought up the fact that, like, what about season 3 of this? Like, you guys had a really banger set. He goes, yeah, we did, right? And it's like...
Yeah. But you're comparing season 3 to 1, right?
I think his point was like, well, everyone's, and outside of the it's boring, is like everyone's getting 2% and 5% from the tier set, so like what's the point? Now, they did make some good points, like half of it's the transmog, and then the other half is like there's just like this exciting thing to chase after, even if it's quick, which is where the catalyst comes in, right?
Not exciting. Don't like it.
Now that said, though, going back to our uniqueness part of it, where like, I mean, Scrap, you said it before, you hated the fact that you didn't have 4 set within like 2 weeks of the...
Pisses me off.
Right? So like, which is it? Like, do they take
here's
away tier sets again when
Yeah.
like we don't have this very fun, flavorful thing? Or do they make it harder to get the tier sets and you're upset about that?
No, here's the thing, Frank. I recognize and appreciate what tier sets do season to season. That they say you're going to play your class a little bit differently because there's going to be something that you have to interact with and adjust to. Ideally, that's the hope,
I think
right?
the idea is that they can experiment with the spec a little bit and say, like, let's try to see what this would look like,
Things I don't like is when they're saying, well, now you have to absolutely play on this side of the tree because your 4 set isn't, if you don't take this talent, your 4 set isn't applicable. So you have to take this talent. Now, I don't like when they do that, but I like the core idea of them saying, let's add a slightly different thing. So you're not doing the same rotation for 3 seasons in a row. Some people like it, but I like a little bit of, whatever. That doesn't have to happen behind the set piece. Like it's such a quick grind now to get it. Like you're pretty much guaranteed it by week 3. Like if you get the 2,500 or whatever, which is not, you can slouch through, right?
You're not guaranteed it. Like, again, think of the average player, Scrap. Think of the average player, right?
We are guaranteed pretty much by the week
like
3.
The person who plays 20 hours a week, yes, is probably guaranteed, right?
It's just
the person
an
who plays 10
annoying
hours
thing.
A week maybe is guaranteed too, right?
It's just something that is only annoying for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then it's like I don't even think about it or care about it. And it ties into like I don't like having to be forced into so much gear where it's like I have so many things that if I get a chess piece from a dungeon, I'm like, oh well, this is completely useless because I have a set piece on, right?
Well, sure, but why is it not any more useless when you have a different chess piece that is your better stats?
Well, I don't mind, sometimes I'll put on that chess piece. It's still exciting because maybe it's an upgrade until I get the best one, but that's not really an option where you have to have a tier set. Like you can't break a tier just because it's like, oh, this is an upgrade most of the time. It feels inconvenient and not very fun, especially if you don't get the tier set right away. And it's just like, I feel just arbitrarily inconvenienced that I'm like doing dog shit DPS because I just don't have this thing that I'm gonna be handed next week, right? Like, but I think there's a different way.
Again,
There's
dog shit DPS, Scrap.
Whatever, like be hindered
2 and 5%.
unfairly.
2 and 5%.
I just don't. I think the tier sets. I think we can rest them. I think they could do another sort of thing to bring in
disagree.
that tier set flavor. Why does it have to be tied to 4 things that I put on my guy? Like they're not fun anymore. Do something different for a bit, and then bring tier sets back and like another expansion. And everybody's
If
gonna
you're
be
going
so
to bring
happy.
them back, then why? You're proving the point. Like, bring them back, everyone will be happy. That means that people like them.
I'm bored of it. So get rid of it for a bit, and then bring it back later, and then it'll be a huge layup. Everybody will be super
All right.
happy.
I have heard people make a similar complaint, not necessarily my view on it, but I have heard, someone who I follow early in the season was having an issue where she wasn't getting a piece of tier, and she was even like having like people from her community like run like normal raids with her and stuff, and she was just really upset she wasn't getting her tier. And it's like, yeah, that sucks. So I can see where someone would feel like, I have heard people complain about that
That's
too.
happened to all of
But
us.
isn't
like,
that
for
also
us.
going back to the idea of this
Well,
gear's uniqueness? That
So I like tier sets because I feel like they're one of the first exciting things you get to each season. Usually by the time your first vault, you usually get a piece out, maybe your first catalyst, you get your 2-piece, you're like, all right, sweet, got the first piece of the puzzle together. But there are some that are like so powerful or change the way you play, where like it does kind of suck if you're kind of got some other pieces, but you don't quite have your 4-piece yet, and you're like, I'm not quite there yet. But I think especially early on, it's not too difficult to get unless you get super unlucky. So I think they're ultimately good. I think they're fun, but I can also see where some people might be a little bored of them. So
Lythian?
They're boring.
Yeah.
Are you saying they're boring? Like you're saying season 3's last season were boring?
I am saying, unfortunately, that I agree with Scrap that
Ha.
they probably need to figure out how to change it up a little bit. But
The effect I'm chill with. I like it. It just doesn't have to be tied to a 4-piece. It could be something else.
I mean, you lose 4 spots that they can actually do something with. But
What could they do?
That's
Make gear that has set bonuses that where you like
Sparkly high heeled boots. I don't know.
the boots aren't your tier set, so it's irrelevant.
Sparkly high.
No, what I'm saying is like, okay,
really
what's
cool
the
dress.
alternative? What is the alternative?
Well, they could.
There's so many alternatives
Cool,
out there.
I'd love to hear one.
They could do a million different
Sure,
things.
I'd like to hear one.
Well, you'd like to hear one? What?
One
A
alternative.
different
They
way
could
for them.
change your apex talents every
it's-
season.
it-
Like,
You mean like tier sets do?
no, that's what
No,
I'm saying.
at
I
the-
still want the effect that tier sets
Yeah,
give you. I just
at
don't
the
want it
end
to
of the
be on the
day-
tier sets necessarily.
Right. All you're doing is finding a way to give yourself extra player power, right? There's
No, the point of the tier set is not about player power.
Right.
Yes, it is there. It's about changing the gameplay slightly.
Yeah, which I'm
Okay,
cool with.
It's honestly, in my opinion, it's a way for them to test new talents that they want to put into the tree.
I'm cool with it. I just don't think it doesn't need to be tied to the 4 set. It could be tied to fucking anything. It could be tied to a cool weapon or something that we get
I feel like
powers
we'd
on.
lose, and as you said, if they were to bring it back, it'd be a huge W. We'd lose this fundamental like class identity, especially with the transmog with it, right?
But we didn't have them for a
Let's
long
say-
time.
I know, and the
Let's
second they brought it
say-
It
back,
was
everyone like
fine.
fucking lost their mind.
Well, it was
Let's-
fine. No one died. Like, it was cool.
Let's
Like,
get
It was
rid of-
the point of the game where it was the lowest subs. What are you talking about?
Well, there were other reasons for that.
Yes, sure,
if
but
they took the tier sets and the 4-piece out of the game, what would you be more excited about getting a helm, shoulders, chest, or would
Yeah,
you
I
be less
would.
excited?
why?
I'd have more optionality around what I put
Optionality.
on. Optionality, right?
But it's
right now.
earlier we said the
those
4
4
same
slots-
stats are there. Like what is the optionality?
It's still gonna be
Those-
dumb where I'm like, I want the mastery chest piece and I want the mastery.
Yeah, I'm still
pants
gonna
or
try
whatever
to
the
get
fuck.
my BIS. I'm gonna get
So-
my BIS items, but at the end of the day,
You're
the tier
unrestricted.
set- yeah, the tier set is so restrictive. You're stuck with those 4 pieces or 5. If you don't file all 5, then 5 pieces, whatever.
I don't understand
And
though. You're saying
it's-
you'd rather have the mastery over, plus 10% X, Y, and Z.
But I
Wouldn't
mean,
the
a
X,
lot
Y,
of
and
times
Z
it's
be
have-
like you need a certain amount of mastery, but not too much or whatever. It's like, well, I have a lot of
Right.
mastery on this chest piece, so I'll get the different pants or something. Like, there's
Right.
more
I could
creativity with it.
do.
It's not
I could do
fun,
something
it's like-
different.
Usually there's one of the
Yeah,
5,
yeah.
catalyzed.
Yeah, there's
to
one of
make
the
up for the
5,
stat. to make it
right?
So,
so-
okay,
well, here's,
so what if
here's
they
the
dropped
thing.
it
Here's
to
the thing. Here's
3?
the thing.
What if they dropped it to 3
Here-
set?
Two
Here's the thing.
set. Two
You're
set's fine.
gonna get the 4 slots. They're gonna be whatever your best stats are or whatever. and they're just going to be just that. And what they've done instead is said, okay, we're going to have this anyways, but we're going to put the tier bonuses on them to give you something that changes your gameplay up.
Well,
Because it's not going to make
they're-
any difference. The only difference is the tier bonus.
Yeah.
no, they're not always the best stats. But that's, to me, I feel like they can come up with a better way or a better system or something different. And I feel like there's
They did. It was
a lack.
Azurite gear.
Well,
Something
and
better
again,
than
they
that.
can keep. Here's the thing. Other MMOs out there do things differently, I'm sure. I don't think Final Fantasy has tier pieces. I don't know what they have. I don't play the game, but
I think they do.
I
you know,
I would maybe
I think-
curb that point, Lythian, until you're certain
well,
what
no,
they do.
I'm just
Any
saying.
Final
Well,
Fantasy people in the
I was using
comments?
it as an example. There's other MMOs that do other things to give people player power in different ways. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for them to try to do something different and stop with the tier set. The tier sets suck.
I mean,
disagree.
just in
I
general,
think I'm old, and Lythian, or I was right. Every time the new season's announced, the first thing I want to see is the tier set.
It's terrible.
I like the concept of it changing your gameplay and stuff, but I feel very closed in on with my gear choices. Like, and because I'm not a huge
Scrap,
Bis chaser,
but you
right?
don't even like choose. You just go to Wowhead.
Find it incredibly
yeah.
interesting that the person who is literally just trying to push keys every season cares so much about like the items she gets.
Yeah,
No, but I
but
don't-
she's not choosing them.
I
She's just
wouldn't-
going and saying, "That's my Bis. I got it. I'm done."
No, but I don't do that with my non-tier set. Like, so obviously I look up, I don't even have to look up the tier set, right? I can look at it and say, this one doesn't have my stats on it. I don't
Yep.
need that, whatever. But then I have to have 2 crafted pieces. Of course I look those up. I don't know what the fuck to make. Like, and then the
What
2
does that have to do
trinkets.
with the tier set?
You said you want
But
choice.
no,
though.
I'm explaining that these are all things where I'm closed in on, where I have no options, right? And so then the other stuff is like stuff that I presumably wouldn't have to go to Wowhead to see what kind of fucking bracers I would need, right? Like I can just kind of surmise, oh, I need to go to Algathar because these are mastery
Scrap,
bracers or
how
whatever.
powerful is the crafted gear embellishment? What percent?
Oh, it's not powerful, but it's like I'm still.
Is it better
like,
to take the crafted gear embellishment or the myth 6 out of 6?
generally the myth 6 out of 6, isn't it?
Yeah. So why is
it's
crafting
similar.
required then?
Well, because early in the season, it's like a huge item level upgrade, right?
Sure.
Like that you can fill
That's
that slot.
crafting though. That's not the embellishment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still get the embellishment because it's like, I have to get the gear anyway. I have to craft the gear anyway. I might as well get the embellishment,
Oh, but you're not
I'm just saying-
pigeonholed into it then.
I feel closed in on.
But you're
about it.
not. You just proved that.
No, but I feel that way.
Anyways.
And then there's a borrowed power item that's always fucking
Nope.
they throw
This time
in.
it's not an item. It's a tier a town tree.
That's fine. I like that they mixed it up a little bit there. Just mixed it up with the tier set. Is that so hard to ask?
Okay,
I'm
let's
just
move
bored
on
of
from the
it.
tier sets and talk about Catalyst then.
I agree with him. What do you want?
You don't want the you don't want the Catalyst anymore?
No, I love the catalyst because I hate the tier set. So does
I
that make
love the
sense?
Catalyst
Can
'cause
I
hate
move
the
on?
tier
Is that
set.
all right if we move
Yeah.
on?
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
the catalyst because
I
I
think
don't have to engage as much with the
the
tier set.
Catalyst was a great way to really hammer home the point that everything would just be a piece of gear of stats without the tier set. So you make it into the tier set.
It just makes the tier sets less relevant. But anyway,
Yes.
what's the next
All right,
next thing?
next one. The add-on change resulted in the worst possible of outcomes. Now we've
Which
talked
is what?
we've talked a lot about this, all right? Well, this has been a constant point. It's like we had a world where weak auras kind of was everything for us and you could easily use it, and they claim everyone knew how to use it. And
What's
now
the bad
because
outcome?
well, now the outcome is because of that, if you're not keeping your thumb on the pulse of the community, you don't know that there's a new kick tracker, or you don't know that there's an add-on that will watch CCs or whatever, right?
Bro, what?
And so like again, I'm like still blown away by this idea. Now again, at the like 22 key level, maybe that's a problem, right? But like we're doing 16s, and I fought with you guys about this, saying like we need to be communicating and we need to be like talking about what kicks we're doing when. But even then, if we didn't talk to each other and we used our macros to mark and were like clear at the start, what let's say we're a pug, we would be able to time these 16s, we'd be able to time the 7s, we'd get 3,400, right? Now
Yeah.
we are on our journey to 1%. Maybe we change our
What?
tunes as we get close to that.
Yeah. I don't know if we're on the journey.
Yeah.
1%.
Um,
I might be.
But like
done.
he's like, there's 20 years of add-on dev. New players, they knew how to use weak auras. Now they're getting astro gapped. I take the term astro gap is not the right term there, but anyways, So it's still going to be used, but now that if you're not in the know, you're like falling behind. You have to like constantly follow Wowhead and you know Twitter and watch streams to know what the next great add-on is, or one that's they broke one and so now there's this new one.
What's being in the know, having a team of add-on developers that work directly for the organization you work for? Like, what is that?
Liquid
even
Claude,
mean?
as they call it, right?
Liquid, yeah.
Well, no, but he said like try using the cooldown manager without any add-ons. Bro, what?
But
Like,
we do that.
we do that.
Yeah.
And again, we're not Mythic Raiders, right?
Yeah.
But like that's the people who kill Lura are in the top 2%, 1%, right? Like I get it, but that's kind of like, why don't you try it without it? Because it'd be surprising that maybe, yes, it would take more pulls, but I'm not saying it can't be done. In fact, they even talked about Yips, who's in their guild, doesn't use any of the cooldown manager at all, right? He just like knows his class that well. He doesn't need it. And I'm not saying that there aren't problems with the UI. It's a journey we're going to be on.
It could be improved.
He made a great point that like it takes, okay, look, use the deathlog as an example. If that were happening in an add-on, the add-on developer would have it fixed within a day, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, absolutely. It's a different machine, so that's not necessarily you know, apples to apples, but yeah, he's right. However, yes, there'll be a growing pain. Yes, there'll be a time where like things aren't perfect, but the game is certainly approachable for 95% of the population without add-ons. And I feel like if we constantly talk about how if you don't have an interrupt tractor, if you don't have a, you know, a CC interrupt, whatever, it's like I get it. It is helpful, and you are gapping me because of it, but it's not Astro gapped. What are we talking about here? Are we still on this?
Astro.
I mean, there's a point where I might a little bit agree with him that but in a different way, that there shouldn't be add-ons that allow you to astro gap people.
Yes,
like there shouldn't be add-ons that give you that much of an advantage over the base UI and the like add-ons that are in the game.
Yeah.
Like those shouldn't exist. I thought that was their intention when they did the add-on purge that didn't end up being a purge. So I agree with that there shouldn't be ones that astro gap you. However, the game is totally playable to the slightly more sweaty than casual players like us with no add-ons.
We're not casual, Scribe. Like we play nonstop. We're not casual.
Sweaty casual.
Right. We're like I mean, again, we're in the top 5% now for sure, and probably even far like 3 or 2%.
I'm happy with that.
And we have a podcast about the fucking game, right? But
you have a podcast. I just show up.
But the point is that like we are able to do this, and I know Lythian still uses add-ons, but like,
I mean, I have
you're
some
not using an
add-ons,
interrupt tracker, Lythian, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't have any of the gimmicky weird add-ons.
You have like the interface side of it.
Yeah, most of mine is just cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
I just like it
Yeah.
to look a
Which
certain
Blizzard
way.
supports.
I have a couple of cosmetic add-ons also, like that I slowly reintroduced where I was like, I really feel like I'm not seeing this as well, so I'm gonna try to find an add-on. I'm like, oh, there's one.
Yeah.
Like, but for the most part, using the everything. I'm even using the art bars, which everybody likes to make fun of. Like,
literally everybody in the high-end scene is using a Chinese add-on that they don't even understand. Like,
hold on.
I'm more angry that why am I doing this?
Hold on, I want to defend people using Chinese add-ons that they don't understand, because I had one that was tracking my collapsing stars for a while before I could find an English one, and it worked plenty well enough. There was a lot of things I didn't understand that were flashy up on my screen, but the info I needed was there. So
Xbox is really good, and it's really cool, and I'd love to figure out how to use it, but I just don't feel like putting in the time. It gives me.
It's like a DBM for like dungeons, kind of.
Yeah, I use it.
Isn't there a DBM already though? There's still
no,
DBM, right?
So like I have created or borrowed some reminders from Method Raid tools that tells me when things are happening, like when an AoE is going to go out or when other things are going to happen during a boss fight or trash pool or whatever. This takes it to another level and is a lot better. And I set it up. It's all right. It's nice. But I like my reminders.
Well, to your point, Lythian, though, like they're saying that's the problem, though, because like there's like localization, like an English version of it, but it keeps breaking, and there has to be a new version. And so, like, if you're not paying attention, I mean, between the four of them, they were like, "Wait, I didn't hear about that. What? Like, how does it not do this and not do that?" And so I could see that being a problem. And I agree, like, yes, an add-on developer would have it fixed within a day, but that's because the add-on developer has one sole focus of their entire job responsibility, and it
Yeah.
might even arguably not be a full-time job for them. So like, it's not comparing apples to apples. Yes, the old add-ons were nice. However, I'm happy to be free of those add-ons. I don't want to keep up with them. I don't like that they felt not a part of the game. There's
I miss
still work to be
Voidcore.
done. We've talked at length about all this stuff, but I definitely don't think this is the worst possible outcome.
What I would say the
Oh,
only
way worse
reason
outcomes.
I don't like this outcome is because I don't like the fact that if you are someone who likes to use add-ons, a lot of times Blizzard will sometimes introduce patches where they break more stuff in their API, and now you have to find a new, like, if you got used to something. That's why I don't use a lot of add-ons right now, because I don't want to get used to something and then have it break and then have to get it over. So in that respect, it's the worst outcome, but at that point you just gotta not play
Well,
with
they're
it at
breaking it
that
for a
point and
reason,
figure out
though.
what works. Yeah.
Right? They're breaking it because we said that's not what we want you to be able to do, and someone got clever and figured it
Right.
out. And even then, like, the add-on is not a good version of itself because it's sometimes inaccurate. And it's like, well, then if it's inaccurate, I don't want to rely on it. It's
I
just,
just want to know what someone in a 22 needs a add-on that they can't even read Mandarin to use, that they couldn't just do themselves. This is the only thing I need to know. If anyone knows in the comments, please tell me, but I have no idea what you would need that you don't already
it
have.
goes to the
It's in
point though where
English.
people say the game, like, it's playing the game for you. Part of the game is like figuring out how to juggle your interrupts with other people. And
Right.
so like that is a part of the add-on problem that they were wanting to fix. And again, it looks like maybe there's a possibility they're figuring out some of that stuff for us that we don't have to complain about anymore. And we talk about Fellowship and how good their interrupt tracking system was, and hopefully maybe we get something like that, right? But I just, again, it's like it's so far from the worst case scenario, because we could have had it where they killed all add-ons and didn't like have any of these things working the way they need to be, and that would have been obviously way worse.
Well,
You guys,
Yeah.
sorry, I asked you.
I
what
don't
you
know if I was going to say, I don't know if we want to be doing what Fellowship's doing. I don't know if you watched the recent Potty C, but they have 300 concurrent players right now. So.
Well, but Max is super excited about it because he says the new loot system, and again, it's more Diablo-esque, but he's like, this is going to be my thing. Now, granted, all the power to people who like Fellowship. Let's not get on that, but yeah, I agree. All right,
Can I
well,
just say that, like, if you think this is the worst possible outcome, you have like a very piss poor imagination. Like, it's way worse outcomes that I could have seen happening.
yeah. All right. Well, we've talked at length about it. For those who watch the show, they know we support the idea that the add-ons are not necessary. So, all right, next topic. Make sure I change it over. Sorry. Yep. Okay. Bonus rolls make the vault far less exciting. So,
True, but it's because bonus rolls are super exciting, so that's not a problem.
No, bonus rolls suck. I hate bonus rolls. 100%.
I love them.
I love it.
I love it.
I think
I would
dumb.
advocate that they should only come from the vault, if anything.
No, because then you won't
So
ever
bad.
take your vault, right?
That's
Well, no,
kinda-
because it's risk versus reward, right?
Mm-mm.
I feel like at that point it's just another system to optimize. I feel like before you'd get the vault and you'd have to make a meaningful. Sometimes you couldn't make a meaningful choice if you didn't have to get anything. But now it's literally like, well, if I don't get the item I'm looking for, I'm just going to take a bonus roll and get like 2 mythic items from a dungeon at this point.
It's an upgrade, but it's not BIS.
I do agree it makes it less exciting. Whether or not people like it more, that's up for everyone else to decide. But I do agree that I think it just kind of becomes a new system to optimize.
The thing is that when the bonus rolls came in, right, which is at the 0.5 patch, the vault is already not exciting for people who fill the vault every week, right? Because we've already got our tier
Hold on.
sets.
Can we be
We've
clear?
already...
Can we be clear though?
What?
The vault's always exciting.
But I feel
It
like
might
as
be a
you get
1%
later into the
chance exciting,
season,
but every single Lythian, every Tuesday, are you logging in the second you get the chance to go check your vault?
Yeah, then I could be disappointed early and get through that disappointment.
It doesn't matter.
and my
It doesn't
pregame.
matter. You're excited
feel
to go look.
I do feel like once you get the stuff that you're supposed to have for the most part, and you're just counting in your vault to give you that extra 3 item levels to bump a heroic item up to a mythic item, it's just less exciting because it's like you're probably not going to get it. You end up with a lot of sads. You're just filling sockets. It
Sad.
still has a level of excitement because it's like I might get it, but it's less exciting. But they kept the excitement going with the bonus rolls because the first couple weeks the vault is fucking everything. It's like the best thing ever. And like the first thing I'm doing is coming in to brag about my vault.
I
But
still think this far
did
into the
it-
season, the vault is pretty damn important.
Well, it is, but I do
You've
think
got
that
what, like
there's
6 or 7
a high
hero
level.
item, hero track stuff left?
I have like half hero track stuff.
Yeah. So like 6 or
All
7.
those bonus
maybe
rolls,
more,
dog. What's
8.
going on with you?
I'm just hoarding them at this
Yeah.
point. Like I haven't
No,
been
but
using
the point
them
is,
at all.
Scrap, you've got a couple in there, right? Like,
Yeah, I got
maybe
a
by
couple.
week 14, it's like, okay, well, I only have my rings, so it's not like I'm getting super excited.
Yeah,
but
no, I mean, I just feel like at the start of the season, the vault excitement is like whoosh, huge, and it slowly goes down as you fill out your stuff. But what they did is it's like huge and go down, and then it went right back up with the bonus roll. So they kept
Oh.
a way to keep the excitement. They're giving me the dopamine every week. So
No,
like the vault's still exciting. They just made it better. So what's your
I
fucking
don't
problem?
agree. I think they made it so early on, if you're not someone who doesn't hoard their bonus rolls because you actually want to use them for stuff, you're actually just gonna gear up a lot quicker, and you're not even gonna need the vault at that point anymore. You're just gonna open it, go, oh, I didn't get the item I want. All right, give me the roll. If I do need a myth upgrade, I'm just gonna run that dungeon and get it. I think like Frank was saying before, like, yeah, maybe you wouldn't always take something out, but you would still have a couple hero pieces. You're like, all right, let me get a myth upgrade. If not, I can put a socket on a myth piece I already have, which, like, yeah, that's not as exciting as the first couple weeks of the season when you're like, I want tier, I want trinkets, but it's still something to look forward to, and it's still a reason to engage with your vault. At this point, you only are opening up your vault because you have to, because you ran the keys anyways to use your bonus rolls. So you might as well see what you got. Like,
well, on the
At this point, I'm still filling my vault. Like
Yeah,
maybe
on
by
the
the point
inverse,
7,
though,
I'm just putting 1 in.
I'm actually liking this system, especially better for alts, because I don't feel obligated I have to run all 8 mythic pluses, right? Like that was a problem in previous seasons. If I had 4 alts, I was like, oh my god, I have to run this many. No, now I can actually go do ritual sites or delves or LFR and be like, cool, that'll get me a slot, and I can hopefully use that for a thing if the one mythic. Okay, so my monk, right, my brewmaster, I did a key. I did 1 key on it, got that slot filled. So now I'm hoping that there's a nice cool little myth item in there. But I'm not wanting to really worry about it that much. So what I did instead, I just did some LFR, I did some ritual sites. I filled up like 2 of the slots elsewhere. I now have 3 slots. If that one item isn't what I want, cool. I got to roll again, and now I can go and roll it again. And that is definitely helping me do other things in the game as well.
Yeah. That's true.
I
That's what he
hope they
wanted.
don't,
less
I hope they don't bring
exciting,
it
but like I said, if it might not be bad depending on how people like it. So
I want it to go away forever.
I'm really interested to see like
What?
maybe we should
No,
start
but I am-
asking people like, do they like it or not? Because I'm
I
shocked
am-
to hear Lythian say
If
that.
I get a survey,
Yeah,
if
what's
I get
your
a
point?
survey from Blizzard, I'm gonna tell them to get rid of it.
what's
I love
the-
it.
Get rid of the vault.
No,
No,
the
get rid of
bonus
the
rolls.
bonus rolls.
Okay. I thought you
No,
said get
no,
rid
the
of the vault.
vault. I like
I thought
the
you
vault.
heard.
I like the
Okay, I
vault.
thought you said you
No, no,
hated the
no.
vault. Okay.
The bonus rolls I hate.
Okay,
I hate the bonus
okay.
rolls.
So how come you hate them? I don't think you really got to go.
He's
deeper
been really
into it.
unlucky.
Because it's terrible.
He
I
can't get
spent-
his thing from Skyrage. So that's why he doesn't
No,
like it.
it took me every roll to get the
Sure.
one trinket I needed from
What's
Crest.
the
Sometimes you
inverse?
get lucky,
What's the
sometimes you get
inverse?
unlucky.
What's the inverse?
On my
Lythian?
survival hunter,
A dinar, maybe.
I'm doing Algathar, and I got 2 pole arms, and I'm trying to get a myth.
Oh, you need
puzzle
daggers,
box, right?
dog. That's a damage
Yeah,
loss.
you want daggers.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, what am I going to do with these 2 pole arms? I have 2 myth pole arms that are just going to sit in my
But
bag and rot
it's-
away.
the
you're
inverse-
knocking it off the thing.
Yeah, the
like, it's
inverse
fine.
is okay. So what? We're in
I'd
week.
rather have dinars where I
are we-
can
at least-
No, but hold on. Let's
Did
talk
you
about that. Let's talk. We're in week
At least
3,
equip them
right?
for the eye level increase.
Yeah, we're in week 3 of the rolls,
don't-
right? Am I right in that?
What?
We're in
4,
week
I
3 of the rolls. Week 4. Yeah, you're right. Week 4. Okay, so we're in week 4 of the rolls. So by this point, Lythian, you'd still only have 1 dinar, right?
Yeah,
and
but
I've
he'd
gotten
have
3
he'd
I
have
wanted.
the item
I'd
he
have
wanted
exactly
though.
He
what I
does have
need.
the item he
But
wanted.
he
He got
does,
his
he has
trinket.
it. Yeah, he does have it. It just took him a
On
long
On
time.
my monk, it took for freaking.
But you
ever.
still got the item you wanted.
and
like
again,
you would have
that's a
spent 1
little
dinar.
RNG.
I got like 5 myth items that are just sitting in my bag doing nothing.
So
but
why
you
are
wouldn't
you-
have
you're
had
like, oh,
anything.
no, more
you wouldn't have anything in the
things.
dinar system.
Wait, you didn't get one like
The roll,
you didn't
bonus
get.
rolls are terrible. Get
Oh my
rid of
God.
it.
Wait, so like, did you not get
My
any other
opinion.
upgrades from it?
He
No,
did,
I-
and he did
Oh,
get
interesting.
gear upgrades and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you get
No,
that unlucky,
I
it
had
definitely
nothing I
sucks.
needed. There's nothing in Skyreach I need.
All right,
Damn,
let's keep this show on the road.
He's just being a hater ass bitch because he's unlucky.
No, before we do switch, that is a good point. If the dungeon only has one item you need, then that is one, and you're only want that one item, then yeah, it does kind of suck if you're not like diversifying your bonds.
But you
Yeah,
know
you
what
know.
they put?
But that's- the
You know
Devar
what they
system
put
would've
in
been
the
the same
game to
problem.
help you with that is that once you get the item, it cancels it off the list. Imagine if it didn't do that, like, and you could just get the same polearm over and over.
There's
and
an
over.
argument to be made that if they were to like keep it in the vault going forward, then they shouldn't cross it off the list because that would make sure it's not too powerful. But yeah. I mean,
No, I
the
like
the
the
problem. The
cross-
argument is it's just too powerful, right? Like, so okay.
Maybe.
Let's keep moving.
I don't think so. I love it. I think it's awesome.
I love it too. I think it's a lot of fun.
I
and-
would not want it at the beginning of the
I
season
agree.
because I think it's too powerful for the beginning of the season. But the
Yep.
0.5,
I think that's fair,
0.7, this is where it's perfect. It makes me reinvigorated to play the game.
Okay. Are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
Send it.
10s should not reward myth track gear in the vault.
Absolutely agree.
Okay. What's up, Scrap?
They're too easy right now.
Okay.
It should be a higher level. Compared if
Like
the
12s?
comparison is with Mythic Raid and the 10s are supposed to be at the same, they give you the same reward level as Mythic Raid, it's definitely inarguably skewed. So I
Yeah,
think it should be pushed with the difficulty level it is to like
So-
12 maybe. At least 12 would
He-
still be wildly easier than Mythic Raid.
Here's
you know?
why I don't agree, because it used to be 18s, and then they knocked it down to 10s because they made 10s harder, but then they made 10s easier. So what are they going to do? Just put it back up to 18s until they're like, wait, yeah, let's make 10s harder again.
So
and
yeah, that was what
squish 'em
I
again.
wrote down as like the swinging nature of a 10's difficulty because like season 1 of the War Within maybe.
Yeah.
Here's the example he
Yeah,
gives.
season one's War Within, fine. Yeah.
Heroic Laura gives item level 269 gear, and in the vault you would only get an item level 269 item, right? So which is hero track.
Yeah.
But if you do M plus or in 10, a 10, you get 266 gear on the drop, but you'll get a 272 myth track item in the vault, which is
Look,
the harder thing to do.
It doesn't matter what number, if it's a 10 or 12 or
Dude.
18, it doesn't matter. It should be a reasonably comparable, like between Raid and Mythic Plus difficulty, like reward to difficulty comparison, right?
Can you
like-
imagine if a heroic end boss gave you one myth slot in raid?
Well, that's what I
That
was
would
gonna
be
say. Maybe
insane.
that's the solution where it's like just like the last boss. If you kill it on heroic, your first slot is a myth item, like randomly throughout the whole raid.
Yeah, I'm down with that. That's fine because the difficulty of the capstone heroic boss is like significantly harder.
You don't
than
think
a
people would
10
be upset
dungeon.
though that like if their second slot was the best in slot trinket and it didn't fit in this first slot, they'd be upset.
Oh, I think it should give you something for the whole raid. Like gives you a random mythic piece from the entire raid.
That's what I'm
loot
saying.
pool.
That's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
But like, let's say your trinket drops in the second slot, you're like, oh fuck you, that was supposed to be in the first slot.
I guess I'm not understanding the visual.
They
of
might be
that,
they
but
might be upset about it's fine, whatever. Yeah, okay.
I don't think people
Oh.
should be upset about getting something extra.
Yeah. No, here's
Like
again, I'm gonna use stupid as an example, right? Like
you just called him
Stu-
stupid.
no, stupid
I,
as an
I call him
example.
that all the time.
Oh, okay.
Is that like he is able to gear himself to a point where he is at the same level as a mythic raider, almost equally
Yeah, and he
as
uses the
quickly.
one button to
right?
DPS.
Well, and not
Oh,
don't knock the
man.
one button, right? But
no, I'm not knocking it. He's fucking awesome. He's out DPSing me sometimes.
so
That's not-
the point being the point being though is that like it also devalues the heroic raid gear altogether, right? Like why would I do heroic when we do heroic raid? It's certainly not for the gear. Like yeah, week 1 it's for tier sets, right? But I'm doing it for the accomplishment. I'm doing it for the
totally
fun.
sucks by the time we get to the last like 3 bosses of heroic raid that I'm not looking forward to anything dropping from them because it's all worse than what I have on. Like because I've been hammering Mythic Plus. Like you
did
can't argue that there's a problem in the difficulty difference between a 10 that rewards you this and Mythic Raid that rewards you this is so steep. Like there needs to be some adjustment.
Yeah. Would you be okay with a sliding scale?
I don't think people should feel entitled to Mythic gear. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
All right. Sorry, I asked you what you were saying.
No, I think this raid is not a great example of that because the last 3 bosses we're talking Stare, we're talking the book, the litany or whatever off the paladins, we're talking the Locust Walker's Ribbon, we're talking the gaze of the Eln Seer.
The
There's a
plume,
lot of
the
good things
plume
you'd
from
still
Bellar.
want on a heroic level. compared to like past seasons where you might
That's
only
true.
want a myth version of like something that came out of M+.
I think that's the argument Blizzard would make for balance, is that the best trinkets usually come from raid,
Yeah.
even on the hero
I
track.
hate that.
I don't like that though.
Yeah.
All right. Again, for the sake of time, we're kind of going to blend this into the next one. So the other point he was making is that M+ gear is too strong. So the fact that it will drop at like 3 or 4, part of it's he's saying like there should be, it can still be hero track, but it can be 1 out of 6 no matter what, so that at least you have to spend some crests to catch up to what the raid of hero gear would drop. He says it gave the raid more importance. It's again, you're getting sometimes higher eye level from Mythic Plus than you would on some of the raid bosses. I believe this might be a heroic raid loot issue, but it also might be because you can like target something in M+ and run it over and over and over and over again, and there's no such thing
That's
as
also
raid.
true. I think that's the reason why that's balanced that way.
Well, and so, okay, so, you know, let's say you're target farming an item. Is it worse to target farm Lythian's trinket for 8 spins on the wheel or on the coin versus going 19 weeks into a raid and not seeing your item, or when it does drop, you have to roll
That's
with
way worse.
19 other
Lythian
people?
needs to shut up because that's a really nice thing they gave us, and I don't want them to take it away.
I hope they take it away.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely can understand this problem. I just don't know how to fix it.
Yeah, but what are you going for in heroic raid a lot of times that like you would be just not farming? Like, I mean, we're talking about like maybe farming a hero shoulder so you can get your 4-piece in hero or something, or maybe a trinket. I guess some people could get like a puzzle box or something. But I mean, in a lot of cases, I think what you're target farming is some stuff that you could just have gotten anyways. I don't think it's not necessarily stuff that like other than like the trinkets or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's all trinkets mostly. That's a problem for the raid side of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is kind of like a weird one. I don't necessarily. I guess you are right. Like if you compared like farming something in Mythic Plus to having to run the raid, but I think that's more so what we talked about earlier with the uniqueness of the gear issue than it is Mythic Plus being too powerful. Because most of the times there's not a lot of stuff in Mythic Plus that is that much better than something you could get in raid anyways.
What do you think, Lythian?
I think I agree with I agree with the guy. Like you can farm stuff in Mythic Plus. You can't farm stuff in Raid the same way. Like you're gonna have to wait until the next reset, and that kind of sucks.
Do you make it so that maybe like you get 2 raids a week that you can get 2 chances, run it again on?
I mean, you do. You can do it on LFR and normal.
No, but that's not the same thing. That's like saying, yeah, you can get another chance at M+, just run M0. That's not the same thing.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know what they do about it. The bigger issue I have is the way they handle some of the raid items. For people who don't like pleb, who doesn't engage with raid at all, right? He's never gonna see some of those trinkets that he could get if he did raid, you know? So I don't know. It's been this way for a long time. I'm just used to it, but
Yeah.
that doesn't make it okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I felt like with my alts that I had to run raid to gear up everything, I'd be miserable as shit.
yeah, I hate doing raid, not with you guys.
Well, it's already bad enough that I like feel like the obligation of going to get the trinkets from the raid. This season's been better than most, not only because of the rules, but because like Gaze comes out of the one boss and it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I did happen to pug my second one, so I didn't have to use rolls on it, which was nice. But that was very lucky, and I don't usually have that kind of like when I did Mana Forge last season, trying to get the trinkets both on my Warlock and my Mage. One of them was the one off the spider boss, the loom or whatever. I can't remember what it was, but you know, like every caster wanted it. And so it dropped, but like I never, and it was in pugs. So like every week I was still rolling against 10 people because the person who got it wasn't like there anymore.
You know how you solve that? Dinars, baby, we back.
Hey, dude, bonus rolls.
Yeah, I can understand there being a problem with this. I think, you know, I think it does help make the game, people play the game more, but, you know, I can understand if you don't like Mythic Plus and you don't want to run it, then it's kind of frustrating. I just don't see a solve that would make it easy.
Yeah, same. And I don't think a lot of people really farm stuff that much anyways. Like I know Lythian tries to get the trinket, but he doesn't really he'll if we have a sky reach, he'll say, I want that because I want the trinket, but I don't think he's
I know
running it
people farm, like, especially at
over
the
and
beginning of
over.
the season, you'll see
They
people
definitely
running,
farm,
like,
I think.
20 of
Yeah.
X to get it.
But I mean, I think it's also a way to engage with like, oh, like it's been nice because I don't think there's been a dungeon this season where people aren't trying to farm something out of it, right?
Right.
Like there's the trinkets out of Windrunner, there's a trinket out of Skyreach in this case for Lythian.
There's also the
Um,
rings that are really good
yeah,
out of.
Nexus has some rings. And
Mhm.
it's like, okay, so everyone's like wanting to now do dungeons. Hey, I'll come to that one because I
But-
need that. It's
Yeah,
nice.
and it's good for that too. It encourages community. You have people maybe running lower keys they wouldn't normally be running because they're like, I just want to do this easy to try and
Yeah,
get
we
this
have that
item
all
real
the
quick.
time.
And in the same way that I would be like, if someone said, hey, I'm doing a pug or an alt, raid, I'd be like, oh, I'll come to that. I really want to get the trinket. And it gives me another chance. It just does stink that like the big part of it is that Mythic Pluses run it as much as you want. Do you think
Yeah.
maybe they like say, okay, you can only run each dungeon twice a week or something?
If they start putting lockouts on the keys, I think that's going to be a little wonky.
Pissed
Yeah.
me off. Don't like it.
It also
Doesn't
stopped
quite
people
fit
from
with the
running
spirit of
more
the mode.
later,
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're almost out of time. I wanted to take a chance just to talk about the comments from the comments from last week's video. Starting with Rakrazek, who said Lythian's Cardian stole the show for me last week. The dude might legitimately be the coolest guy in World of Warcraft. Lythian.
Damn.
I didn't read
That's pretty
that.
cool.
Lythian.
It's amazing.
You. Oh man.
I got a lot
Dude,
of.
put that
I
on your
wear
wall.
hoodies. I wear hoodies a lot. By the way, this hoodie says Bastos by nature. It's a
Nice.
Tagalog thing, but I do have a lot of dressy clothes because I.
The man has impeccable taste in knitwear. I'll say that, or whatever the AI thing said.
Nice.
I'm like blown away. Coolest guy in World of Warcraft. Now we're gonna have to
In
refer.
World of
He's not
Warcraft.
the nicest guy in the Discord anymore. He's the coolest guy.
He's the
in-
coolest guy.
Maybe they'll make
Okay.
him an NPC one day.
Oh man.
All right. Kyle Williams 3821 says, "Can we get a small segment next to what Lythian cares about, where Ioski says things in Sylvanas' voice, like the epic voice guy? First suggestion: Avengers Assemble. Ioski, can I on demand?
I highly respect the name Kyle Williams. I don't know if that's this man's real name, but that was a defensive tackle for the Buffalo Bills for many years. Very good player. So shout out Kyle
Wow.
Williams. Any requests you guys have? I think it's
Are you on
IOSPTV
Cameo?
at gmail.com. Yeah, no, any requests you guys have, I'll do for money, but yeah, not gonna do it for free. Sorry.
He's
I
got
have
cameo.
a unique talent.
Cameo it.
And if you want access to one of probably the second best Sylvanas voice actor, I guess, I don't know. I've heard that.
I don't
You know,
think
I-
the Sylvanas voice actor is cameos.
I
Yeah.
feel like I was like, Io's got a pretty good Sylvanas impression, but now that you're monetizing, and I'm like, it's
Fuck
not that good, right? Like,
All right, Kyle. I'm
What?
sorry. He's making you pay. I think he just doesn't want to say because
Paywall.
he's like, oh shit, am I gonna get it right? All
Yeah.
right.
Honestly, yeah. There's definitely a part of this week where I've been
What'll
like
happen
talking
though?
it a bit.
What'll
I'm
happen?
like,
I ask
am I
you-
really nailing this or what?
No, what'll happen is now you're gonna like practice it all week and you'll slide it in next week's episode. So just Kyle Williams, just hang
Yep.
tight, okay? All right.
tight.
Jan B says, thank you for the consistent content. You mentioned you might discuss things posted in the comments in the future. So I asked this: what's up with the damage meter? Deathlog is completely useless.
We agree.
Since I can't trust it, logs work with a raid and M+, but not PvP. This is my largest issue with the expansion I'm trying to start, and I'm starting to think I'm the only one, since I don't hear anyone else talking about it. Do not get me wrong. The death log in the game is garbage, right? For a little while at the start of the season, Scrap would be like, "Oh, I got killed," and then she
I kept getting
blamed.
killed by melee, dude.
No, you did
I'm
not.
telling you.
You did not.
It was it was
said it.
tank error.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it's a huge problem, and honestly, it's one of the things where I think THD's point of like an add-on developer would have had that fixed in a day, and Blizzard still doesn't have it fixed. Blizzard might just be like, it's not worth the they're it's whatever, but a lot of people are complaining about it, so you're not the
It's-
only person.
An unfortunate casualty, but it was such a useful tool that not having it really stinks, especially in a situation like our commenter where he probably wants to learn from his mistake and can't because he thinks he got hit by a melee, which he didn't. So
Well, most of the time I see I got killed by a melee, even though I was clearly standing in a circle, and I'm like, whew, that
well, usually
it wasn't
sometimes it is, especially if you're going Lythian.
Well, yeah, a lot of times I do get killed by melee, but a lot of times I will be fair. It's because of me. Like I did
A
something
lot
bad.
of times.
A lot of times, yeah.
99.9%. All right.
Most of the time.
The original Zing says that Scrap would have gotten balanced Druid in the wheel. She could have completed her Tettle's villain arc, and all the hot takes would be accepted as well as just Boomkin. Scrap, how do you feel about the fact that people are now, like, again, rallying to this idea that you're the Tettles?
Was this the guy that we've been reacting to?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I don't really know the Tettles comparison. I'm kind of tuned out of the. I know he plays Druid and he's a big bitch. Like that's all I know about him. Like that's, but I don't know why. I just
Oh
know
my
that's what
God.
people say about
I'll be
him.
honest, like Tettles gets a lot of shit, and sometimes it's unfair.
Yeah.
But then he'll do something that's just like, dude, Tettles, what the fuck?
I've
He made
never
a
seen a
video.
Tettles video.
He made a
anything,
video where
so.
he was ranting that the like Blizzard's not pushing the envelope on, like, he's like, casual content sucks and Blizzard's not pushing the envelope, and it was just so tone
Okay.
deaf because he's like, well, they're not pushing the envelope on M plus or Raid. Raid has been pretty damn awesome lately. M plus,
Yeah.
they've been giving us all the things we've been asking for, and like, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously they're not pushing the content, but the game is being played more than ever, and now
Yeah.
we're saying that
You know,
it's stale. What?
M plus is more casual friendly than ever. It's like so accessible. It's awesome.
I'll say this since Scrap just called Tettles a bitch. I mean, there you have a guy who, like, a lot of people rag on in comments, who comes on to the internet every week and gives his, what I'm guessing are his honest opinions, and
Yeah.
makes videos and does stuff like that. Like, I mean, and obviously catches a lot of flack sometimes. So to be able to still do that every week, I think is
he's
quite commendable. So
I
Yeah,
agree.
respect.
I agree.
so
He definitely, like, it
I
would
don't-
get to me, and you know,
Yeah, if you do one sour comment, it gets to Frank. Like, not to give you
yeah,
guys the
in
power.
fact,
but
everybody who watches this video, you should leave
Yeah.
one sour.
go on
Frank
ahead.
comment.
You have
It won't
so-
affect me at all
you
unless
have
you
so
say
much
something
power.
about me looking like a Make-A-Wish Bradley Cooper.
If you,
Yep.
that was great. Oh, man.
God, I swear some of the comments from that episode of Where Max Watched was so fucking good. All
I
right,
missed the Negan.
Can we shout
comment.
out the Babam guy who always says buff mage defensives? He comments every week. I feel like he needs a shout out.
All right,
I think it's Frank's alt, bro.
Yeah,
I
oh,
think
my
it's
alt
just
YouTube account.
His alt account. His alt YouTube account.
Which, by the way, this MDL account is my alt YouTube account. All right.
Oh, okay.
Either Jorge or George Martinez says, man, here's a game. Take a shot every time Scrap says like, and you'll be fucking hammered.
Okay, come on. I wasn't trained to podcast.
So can I tell you
like,
that
so...
I used to be a
Give me a
professional
break.
trainer, right? And I would do presentations all the time. And someone did a time where they counted how many times I ended a sentence with right. And it was like,
you do that actually. Yeah,
it was
you do
in
that.
like the 60s or 70s, and it was like a 2-hour window. I was like, holy shit. And once someone tells you that, you can't unhear it, and it is the absolute, like, it's nails on a chalkboard when you hear yourself doing it.
Yep.
So hopefully, Scrap, we can you know.
I don't
course
care.
not.
I wasn't professionally trained to podcast. I just was thrown on here because Frank has a hobby. Like,
I got a
so...
similar
Okay.
similar comment quite a few videos ago, and it definitely rocked me a little bit because I didn't realize it either, like Frank was saying. So I do try to, I have been trying to improve it, but it's also difficult too, because sometimes when you're trying to think of stuff, especially us where we don't really pay attention to what Frank posts and we're just coming up with stuff off the top of our heads, it is difficult. So
Don't
But-
fucking bother me. Keep trying.
keep
All right, last
keep
one.
giving
Max
us feedback.
Max Ian said, I completely disagree with Frank on loot. Getting mythic loot from doing random unrelated shit is like Titan forging all over again, and I think that was one of the worst
Yeah,
loot
we
systems
already-
this game has seen. Why
we
even
talked
have
about that.
tiered loot with such system? Easier just to give everyone some same baseline gear and only reward people with cosmetics. Now, I only brought this one up because we did talk about Titan forging. I don't know. I don't know why people hate Titan forging. I don't get it. It's like, just like let people have their little fun where they got that awesome little thing that was a 0.1% chance that, you know, they won the slot machine. Who cares? Who cares if the guy got 20 nuggets? Am I
You guys
crazy in
just
this?
don't care about anything anymore. I tell you.
All right, Lythian, good transition there. What do you care about this week?
You know what you know what's been bothering me this week? I use this app called TikTok. Perhaps you have heard
I've
of it.
heard of it.
I hate when he does this bit. Jesus Christ.
and you know the algorithm is broken right now to where it shows me a lot of WoW content, right? And
Is it
Let me
broken
tell
or
you.
working as intended? Because you're watching
It
WoW
might be
content.
it might
so-
be working as intended, but there are some content creators. You guys just talked about how Tettles puts content out there all the time, and that's great. Some people just shouldn't, and that's okay, right? Like if I was putting content out every week, people would probably hate it, and that's
You are
okay.
putting content out every week.
But oh shucks, you're right, I am, aren't I? But
Should they cancel
the
you?
point is, I wish that I can adjust the algorithm in TikTok. That'd be great.
You know what?
Can't you
I
not?
get a lot of
Bother me today.
I get a
Can't
lot
you,
of
like-
like casual WoW players on my Instagram when I get WoW content, and I really enjoy them.
I
Can't
think
you
that's
like
because they make good shorts and stuff.
Yeah,
blank
they
out
that yeah.
certain hashtags and stuff? Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Like this one guy was talking about how great he is because he helps people who don't know how to play the game really well.
Oh, what a
I don't
nice
think
guy.
people like that.
I feel like he's just it's this weird thing where he's like I'm the greatest thing in the world because I help people who don't know how to play the game better, and I'm like it's terrible. It's a terrible.
I don't get
It's
people
just
like
a
that.
terrible thing.
I'll give you the people that I see frequently on Instagram. There's a guy called Artemir's Gaming, and he like talks about transmogs and shit. I think he pushes content like we do, but mostly I see videos of him talking about transmogs, which I like. And then
Look-
there's someone called Shoujo Aj, and she just does like funny lip syncs, and I think she's completely casual, like doesn't do M plus. She just
So
flex and does her house. So those are
I
the
will
people I
say
follow.
there's a guy named like Touchpad Warrior who
Yeah, I
has
like
all these.
that. He's
He's
very
got all these
entertaining.
props. Yeah, he's got all these props and he's got all the stuff. I like that guy. That
I
guy's
like him
great.
too. Those are the kinds of guys I get. I get people with
Yeah.
props who do housing. Like so
Well,
Yeah,
You're,
Touchpad
I enjoy
Warrior is
it.
a big YouTube or a big WoW persona, right? So it's like
Yeah,
that's not
we're gonna.
surprising.
I'm
But
gonna
his
see him at
content's really
BlizzCon,
good.
Yeah.
and apparently he's like a dwarf in real life. So he's like he called himself a dwarf in real life, which is why he plays a Tauren in game.
He has
So-
very good
Uh,
content though. It's
to-
very well.
He's a small
produced.
guy.
Two people. One, if you're into more casual stuff, Laria, who she's a resto druid. She does a lot of really good, just like in like
She
good
did like the
videos about
housing
like
judging, right? She did
yeah
the-
stuff like that. Good educational stuff. So she's a good person to follow. And then if you're someone who's on the higher end, maybe thinking about trying to push into that 1% or 0.1% title range,
That's me.
now former World Percent, or I think he still does Race to World First for Method, but he's been doing a lot of really great videos. Like he did one where he talked about a pull in Elgathar where you assign the kicks and have your tank do this one interrupt because he's the only one that won't get slept or something like that on the
so
books. in
they asked
Elgathar.
before Veximus if you let the
Yeah.
book get its monotonous lecture off, it never hits the tank. But what you can do is you
Like-
have the tank wait until it goes off and then interrupt it with a stun, and they will have it off cooldown for like 20 or some seconds.
Are you talking about Noah?
Yeah, now.
Now he goes by
Now is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
My add-on comes 90% from him. So
Yeah. So
or my,
if you're
my UI.
Good vibes
if
too.
you're looking for that like next level of play or something, or you have some friends you're thinking, hey, we want to try to push some keys this season, that's a good one to look up to.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Okay.
Anyway,
Any last words?
No, I left it
uh,
out.
no, you know what? Maybe I knew this, but I forgot. But I guess He-Man is coming out.
Yeah,
and
It's a movie.
Jared Leto is is
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
They gotta stop casting that guy. He's such a freak.
well, he's like unrecognizable. He doesn't like he uses a voice, so it's like unrecognizable for the voice too. Why did they? Why?
I
know. He's
saw
'cause
the
he's
trailer for
meme-worthy.
it. I'm like,
I
what's
don't know. People are
happening?
excited about it, but I don't know.
I'm gonna go
No, I
see
don't.
it.
I'm
but...
over that.
I'm upset
Anyway,
because the new Guy Ritchie movie is supposed to stink, and Henry Cavill's in it, and Jake Gyllenhaal. And it's like, damn, I thought it was gonna be good, but it's
I
gonna
want to see
Bummer.
that too.
suck.
I'll
Well,
watch it
actually, I have
anyway.
an announcement. My birthday's on Thursday, so I want everybody really niceys to me on the comments, please.
Or don't.
And yeah, that's it.
We're gonna do a trader raid that day, right?
No,
No,
not
no,
this
next week.
Thursday. We're doing it next Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Please
Yeah.
go to
That might be Thursday next
mythicdungeonleague.com to access our Discord. Come run keys with us. I've got more and more people who are DMing me say, "Hey, I want to come and do some keys with y'all." So, like, please, by all means.
Yeah, come on.
We're very
we're
chill.
on pretty much every night. And yeah, we got Trader Raid May 28th. We will live stream that, and Requiem did an awesome job of doing like a recap of it. So maybe he'll hopefully do that
So
for
good.
It was so
I
good.
love that edit. he
And we got
did.
our new app too, so it'll be a lot easier to follow along with it. And
yeah, we have an awesome app. Yeah.
so
have to test that.
twitch.tv/MDLFrank. I will remind everyone, please continue to subscribe. Please continue to comment. It helps us so much. We are doing this for the love of the game, but we'd love to be able to get a little more serious with like interviews and stuff. So yeah, please continue to do those awesome things.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
share.
wrap it there.
And
'cause
tell Megaset to come train me. in her comment.
Megaset was on Potty C this week. She was
Tell-
a
That
guest.
was
Yeah.
a great episode. Yeah, she's
Scrap, you're
really
not
good at stuff like
trainable.
that.
But if anybody could do it, she could probably do it.
She'll tell you.
so. You could
it's very
probably do
scrap-
it.
It's very simple. Just spinning crane crick on trash.
I
and
don't
then-
want to hear it from you. I want to hear it from an expert.
Just watch her.
Wow.
You'll
Yeah.
learn her pretty quick.
She actually has really good short content too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She explains
I'm
it.
gonna depend on it heavily. So
Alright. Well,
I
anyways,
don't get her in my algorithm, but anyway.
That's because you're sexist. That's episode 85. 15 weeks till BlizzCon.
Hell
Right?
yeah.
Oh, we ordered
Yeah.
jerseys. We ordered our jersey. Well,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
I'm
we
so
did,
excited.
yeah.
for
no,
the
Scrap. You
jersey.
owe me some emojis.
I haven't
mean,
finished.
You. dickhead.
I'll do it tomorrow for sure. I've been swamped
Bullshit.
the past 3 days.
I'm putting
no,
up an
dude,
MDL
I
MDL
time.
sheet
told
right now.
you.
Hold on, MDL sheet. Here we go,
Yeah.
everyone.
Tomorrow.
Holy crap.
New. Where's the new? There we go. New market. Will I get those emojis by tomorrow?
No,
At midnight.
no.
Monday. Right?
Monday at
12. Well, sorry, 11:59 midnight.
midnight. Yeah,
'cause that's not
11:59.
midnight
Yeah.
or earlier.
Mhm.
All right, go make your bets right now if you're watching this on Monday. Oh shit. Scrap Claw is the category.
Yeah, she's her own category. Hmm.
Gotta put this in. There we go. Oh. Boom. All right,
All right.
it's on there. Everyone have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Don't worry, I didn't have any last words. So.
No, wait, hold on.
Oh no.
Nope, I
that's me.
didn't have any. We're good. End it now.
All right, bye.